from UniKL MIIT will be your MC for today. Welcome to the opening ceremony of UniKL MIIT Research Week 2022. We are connected via Microsoft Teams, and it is my pleasure this morning to welcome everyone, and I would like to thank you for joining us today. With your presence, we hope that this opening ceremony of UniKL MIIT Research Week 2022 will be a fruitful and engaging event. We shall start the ceremony shortly, and please stay tuned with us. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, just to give a short announcement, there will be a Google form provided for today's attendance. Okay, so please feel free to fill in so that you will be getting the e-certification at the end of the session. Thank you. Our e-certification today has been sponsored by the Process Mining Research Cluster, PMine REC. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera and good morning. Yang berbahagia Profesor, ladies and gentlemen, the opening ceremony of Research Week 2022 shall now begin. Yang berbahagia Associate Professor Dr. Zaliza Awanglong, Dean UniKL Malaysian Institute of Information Technology. Yang berbahagia Associate Professor Dr. Dahlan Abdul Ghani, Head of Section Research and Innovation, UniKL Malaysian Institute of Information Technology. Yang berbahagia Profesor Dr. Noor Zaman Jhanji, Associate Professor at School of Computer Science and Chemical Engineering, Director Centre for Smart Society 5.0 CSS 5 from Taylor's University, academicians and beloved staff. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the opening ceremony of UniKL MIIT Research Week 2022. I'm Ms. Ira Shazwani Zana Abidin from UniKL MIIT, will be your MC for today. Before we proceed with the agenda, let us begin with the recitation of dua that will be led by Ustad Hassan bin Jali, lecturer from UniKL MIIT. Please welcome.
الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد صلاة تنجينا بها من جميع الأحوال والآفات وتقضي لنا بها جميع الحاجات وتطهرنا بها من جميع السيئات وترفعنا بها عندك الدرجات وتبلغنا بها الغايات من جميع الخيرات في الحياة والآخرة. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, sesungguhnya kami menadah tangan kepadamu hari ini, Ya Allah. Kami menzahirkan rasa kesyukuran atas iradah dan berkat-Mu yang telah memberikan kami nikmat yang sedikit, lebih-lebih lagi nikmat yang melimpah. Panjang program Research Week ini berlangsung, kami mohon limpahan rahmat dan pertolongan-Mu, Ya Allah, supaya urusan kami diredai oleh-Mu. Semoga program ini berjalan dengan lancar, teratur dan berkah. Ya Allah, Ya Munzilar Rahmah wa Ya Fadilal Barakah, inilah hati-hati kami dengan cahaya dan hidayah-Mu, Ya Allah. Kurniakanlah kami kesehatan anggota, kecergasan minda, ketenangan jiwa, kekuatan semangat. Semoga dengannya kami mampu mendepani cabaran, berdaya saing dan mampu mengangkat martabat diri, keluarga, masyarakat dan negara. Permudahkanlah, Ya Allah, segala urusan program Research Week ini sehingga selesai. Semoga ianya memberi manfaat kepada masyarakat, UniKL dan negara Malaysia khasnya. Ya Dzal Jalali wal Ikram, jauhkanlah diri kami daripada perkara-perkara yang menyukarkan kami, Ya Allah, untuk melaksanakan amanah dalam kehidupan ini. Lindungilah kami daripada sebarang perkara yang boleh mencemarkan integriti kami demi amanah dan tanggungjawab. Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, Ya Wadud, Ya Rauf, satukanlah hati-hati kami, Ya Allah. Eratkanlah perpaduan serta mahabbah dalam kalangan kami. Padukanlah tenaga dan usaha kami dalam mencapai cita-cita murni untuk agama, masyarakat dan negara. Allahumma jal jam'ana hadza jam'an marhumah wa tafarruqana min ba'di tafarruqan ma'sumah wa la taj'al ya rabbana bainana syaqiyya wa la mahrum. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adzabannar wa qina Sallallahu alaihi sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wasallam. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun alal mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Taqabbalallahu minkum.
Thank you, Ustad Hassan bin Jali, for the dua recitation. Yang berbahagia Professor, ladies and gentlemen, to begin the ceremony today, we are pleased to have Yang berbahagia Associate Professor Dr. Dahlan Abdul Ghani, Head of Section Research and Innovation, UniKL Malaysian Institute of Information Technology, to deliver his opening remarks. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Associate Professor T.S. Dr. Zaliza Awanlong, Dean of UniKL MIIT, Management UniKL MIIT, distinguished moderators, speakers, organizing committees, and participants. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and a very good morning. It is my pleasure to welcome you to our 5th UniKL MIIT Research Week 2022 event. I would like to express my gratitude to Associate Professor T.S. Dr. Zaliza Awanlong, Dean of UniKL MIIT, to be with us and officiate the 2022 UniKL MIIT Research Week. The idea of Research Week started back in early 2010, where small initiatives to cultivate and motivate UniKL MIIT academicians into research, such as by having several seminars within UniKL MIIT sections, colloquiums, and also to organize a research day. Eventually, UniKL MIIT were able to organize its own research week that able to have more research activities with external experts or scholars, mainly to share their knowledge and experience, inspiring UniKL MIIT academicians to strive for excellence in research output, especially involving the rating and ranking. Since 2019, UniKL MIIT Research Week not only focuses on knowledge sharing sessions such as forum or seminar, but also to award or recognize UniKL MIIT academicians with outstanding achievement in publication, focusing on Scopus Q1, involving innovation competitions such as ITEX, Percipta, Meet in UniKL and so on, and other external innovation competition. And also not to forget to expose with our lecturers in terms of how to secure internal and external research grants. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this year's UniKL MIIT Research Week, which will be held from 25th to 27th of July 2022 via online, will focus on 4 main areas in research domains such as patent filing, research project or known mostly on FYP, publication on high impact journals, and also on the process of securing research grants. Several research activities has been lined up in terms of research talk, forums, seminars, where we will see UniKL MIIT academicians and also MIT external research partners will be involved, such as from UiTM Kuala Terengganu, we have Taylor's University, La Rochelle University of France, and many others. I would like to highlight that UniKL MIIT will be organizing its first IEEE International Visual and Informatics Technology Conference from 1st to 2nd November. And also UniKL MIIT will organize its first International Innovation and Exhibition Competition known as ICPEX, which will be held on the 21st of October 2022. Also, in conjunction with our Research Week, UniKL MIIT Postgraduate section will also organize its first International Postgraduate Colloquium IPC 2022 via online. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, nevertheless, I believe that MIT Research Week will provide more opportunities for researchers to gain and share their knowledge and able to participate in the upcoming research events that I mentioned earlier. In closing, I wish to express my gratitude to Associate Professor T.S. Dr. Zaliza Awanlong for officiating our Research Week 2022, participants, academicians, especially to the organizing committee of UniKL MIIT Research Week 2022 for their full cooperation and contribution to our Research Week 2022. Before I end, there is a famous quote that I would like to share from Werner von Braun, a rocket engineer that launched the first US satellite into space. he mentioned that research is what I'm doing. Research is what I'm doing when I don't know what I'm doing. On that note, wishing you a fruitful and productive knowledge sharing session over the next 3 days. Thank you. Wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Wassalamu alaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much, Associate Professor Dr. Dahlan Abdul Ghani. Such an interesting quote. Honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, on that note, without further delay, we would like to cordially invite Yang Berbahagia, Associate Professor Dr. Zaliza Awanglong, Dean, University Kuala Lumpur Malaysian Institute of Information Technology, to deliver her speech and to officiate Research Week 2022. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum and selamat pagi semua. Thank you, Ira, for hosting the event today. Can you hear my voice? Because my internet connection at my house currently are not very good.
We can hear you clearly.
Right.
Maybe we can. Yes.
Okay. First of all, congratulations to the committee who successfully managed the Research Week for the fifth time, I believe. And as mentioned by Dr. Dahlan just now, this is nothing new, but it has been run since 2010, this initiative. Again, congratulations to all people who are participating on this program. As everyone aware or everyone know, we have 132 lecturers in MIIT. So in this platform, if I can see only 34 participants in this research with, even though we have been run more than 10 years, this initiative, but numbers of participants is low. So I believe we need to inculcate more our team in UniKL MIIT to participate actively in the research activities that have been conducted across the year. As mentioned by Dr. Dahlan, we're having quite numbers of activities. As early as January, we're having the conference with IMCOM. Every year never fails since 2012. Across that line, we also have actively participating co-organized conference with UPNM and UKM and many more universities participating as the co-organizer. This year, we managed to run the conference, our own conference, and invited others as a co. Congratulations again to the team. Putting this as a mark where we need to go further, we need to have every members of MIIT to participate actively in a research activity conducted. We cannot push you. We cannot put you in line unless you provide yourself to be part of us. We can only prepare the platform, as I asked Dr. Dahlan, rather than participating, we should organize. So Dr. Dahlan teams, sahut cabaran ini by establishing, by coming out with the decision to organize. First time, I believe this is the second time sebenarnya, our competitions, student FYP competition, kita pernah buat dulu, I believe, at international level, and then we stopped for a while. And I did ask to Dr. Dahlan, we are participating quite numbers of competitions, FYP competitions at other universities. And we won many medals, including golds, bronze, and many more. But we are yet to have our own competitions that be organized by our universities. So I believe this is also the mark of the first time kita reorganize balik semula that kind of activity untuk competitions. Okay, I think with the numbers of staff that we have, with the numbers of PhD holders that we have, and looking into increased numbers of students currently that we already have more than 4,000 students in our systems. And also we have quite a number, 137 masters and PhD students. I believe we should go further and establish more on our capability rather than we just watch and participate at the minimum in terms of research and collaborations. I would like to highlight this initiative by Dr. Husna. Dr. Husna, we did ask us to collaborate with a University of Indonesia. So upon that, she managed to do a joint publication with University of Indonesia. In reward to that, the management would like to send her to do some 2-week mobility in Indonesia. So I urge every single of us try to initiate the collaboration with top supervisors or top professors in other different universities for us to start collaborate. We may not be very good at doing it. We need to learn from others. But by doing that, I think we can move faster in developing our community. So I urge every one of us to move forward, but not waiting us to give opportunity, but also works together with us to create an opportunity for others as well as yourself. So I believe and I hope this marking for 2022 post-pandemic will create new environment for us. Rather than waiting, now we are initiating things. We are initiating new things for ourselves as well as for the universities. So in that, I hope you enjoy these 1-week activities. There is numerous knowledge that where we can gain from this 1 whole week's research activities with numbers of activities, including the talk from renowned people. I believe there will be visiting from the NTU professors. Thank you, Dr. Dahlan and Ms. Kim, for the initiative. Bring up professors from NTU to us to share and to do some collaborations. Again, I hope this initiative not only from the sections of research, but from every single of us to bring this kind of initiative. In that, thank you very much, and please enjoy your research week along this week. Again, I pass back to Ira for the next agenda. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Associate Professor Dr. Zaliza, for such an inspiring speech. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, before we start with the talk, let us now sit back and enjoy watching this special montage. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, moving right along, it is now my pleasure to next introduce our guest speaker for today's session. Dr. Noor Zaman Jhanji is from Taylor's University. He is currently working as an associate professor, Director Center for Smart Society 5.0, CSS5, and cluster head for Cyber Security Cluster at the School of Computer Science and Chemical Engineering. Dr. Jhanji served as associate editor and editorial assistant board for several reputable journals such as Pure Computer Science, Frontier Communication and Networks. He has received Outstanding Associate Editor Award for IEEE Assess for the year of 2022. Furthermore, he has many high-index publications in WOS, ISI, CSI's corpus, and his collective research impact factor, for your information, is more than 700 points. Also, he has several international patents on his account, including Australian, German, Japan, and etc. I believe that all of us now can't wait to hear from Dr. Noor Zaman Jhanji on his valuable experience and insights regarding the subject of publication and also high-index journal. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, hence it gives us great pleasure to invite our speaker, yang berbahagia, Professor Dr. Noor Zaman Jhanji, Associate Professor from Taylor's University, to deliver his talk today entitled Publishing Articles in High Impact Journals. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum, Ira. Dr. Noor Zaman is not here yet. So in the meantime, we can watch some UniKL videos. Is that okay?
Okay, so I think we shall
Hold on,
wait for our speaker today. Yeah?
Yeah, he will be in. He'll be in a few minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
Everyone loves spreadsheets. Actually, they don't. But check this out. Okay, Monday.com.
okay. Dr. Noor Zaman is here.
Yeah,
Are you unmuted, Ira?
Thank you, Dr. Husna.
Okay.
All right. So, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, moving right along. Okay, let me introduce once again our guest speaker for today. Dr. Noor Zaman Jhanji is from Taylor's University and he is now currently working as Associate Professor, Director Center for Smart Society 5.0, CSS 5, and Cluster Head for Cybersecurity Cluster at the School of Computer Science and Engineering. Dr. Jhanji served as associate editor and editorial assistant board for several reputable journals, such as Pure Computer Science, Frontier Communication and Network. He has also received Outstanding Associate Editor for IEEE Assess for the year of 2020. Furthermore, he has many high index publications in WOS, ISI, CSI's corpus, and his collective research impact factor is more than 700 points. Also, he has several international patents on his account, including Australian, German, Japan, and etc. I believe all of us now can't wait to hear from Dr. Noor Zaman Jhanji on his valuable experience for our topic today with regards to the publication and high index journals. Ladies and gentlemen, hence it gives us once again, great pleasure to invite our guest speaker today, Yang Berbahagia Professor Dr. Noor Zaman Jhanji, Director Center for Smart Society 5.0, CSS 5 from Taylor University, to deliver his talk entitled Publishing Articles in High Impact Journals. Please welcome.
thank you very much, Abby, for nice introduction. I am a just common professor, like everyone, and thank you for providing this opportunity. Just please confirm that my screen is visible.
Yes, we can see you.
That's great. Thank you. So we can start. Right. Thank you. Thank you very much once again to participants and to you all for providing this opportunity. Today we are going to discuss about publishing the journal articles in the high impact journals. Being a research community, a researcher, a professor, a PhD scholar around the globe, this is actually the primary requirement for us everywhere to grow in this world, to change this world, to get our PhDs as their degrees, to get the promotions and everything. Everything is linked with the publications, research publications. Though research publications are the one of the component if we just see as a whole sphere of the research. Now, publishing with a good journals, with high impact journals, that is again a challenge as well. But I believe that challenge is only until we don't understand the ABC of the journal requirements, the ABC that what journals we are targeting, what they are looking for, the ABC for our paper about quality, about their domain, about their presentation, about the authors, and a lot of the related points that what we are supposed to consider. So if we are considering all of these points in a well manner, then we will be among those whose papers are published in high impact journals, including the transactions, are including the journals with a very high impact. We need to understand the gaps. If someone's papers are not published in high impact journals, it doesn't mean that Mr. A or Miss A, they are not producing the work of that level. It means that there is some gap. There is some lacking. There are some issues. We need to understand those and overcome with these points as we can be up to that standard, and we will be able to get in the same group where the other researchers, the people from the globe, they are publishing. So that is our actually main focus and target for our today's presentation. And we hope that this will help to the audience, and this will help to all of us with how we can upgrade or how we can see what lacking are, what actually gaps are there, so we can be able to meet them and get it done with the good journals. So that's the target for our today's presentation. Myself, Dr. Noor Zaman, working as an associate professor at the Taylor's University, and as well as the director for the Center for the Smart Society, CSS5, and the cluster head for the Cybersecurity Research Cluster as well. What is CSS5? That's very important because we are discussing about the research, so we need to understand about that as well. CSS5 is a research excellence center. Like in all of the universities, we have the research excellence centers. Their main focus and motive is that how to produce the great results for the research. So with this center, we have different 5 research clusters, including cybersecurity, including artificial intelligence, and data science, additive manufacturing, and on top of that, last but not the least, that is the drones. So these are the 5 different research clusters. And then we have extended our team, which based on our professionals, the professors in the campus, as well as PG students. So we all together have a team around 60 people. We have a very strong collaborations worldwide. More than 40 universities, we have collaborations. With industry, we have collaborations internally and externally. Within Malaysia, we have collaborations with more than 10 universities. And the center is, as an overall, is producing a lot. For the last year, we produced 100 plus Q1 to Q3 publications, different number of the patents, different number of the books, and different other research grants, consultation, and so many other things. So while we are discussing this is actually the base that what we will be concluding as well. So in a research, we always need a strong collaboration. Research cannot be done on an individual basis. Anyhow, we will be discussing about that later, one by one. So these are the links provided. In case if anyone is interested later, they can go through with these links, and we are happy and open for the research collaborations as well. So here are the few of the books, which are the selected books recently done with the different international publishers, which are edited, are authored by myself out of those almost 40 plus till today. So if anyone is interested, later they can go through with that. Now we're coming back to our topic. So with today's talk, we try to divide it into 3 folds. Number 1, how to get published. With the thanks to the Elsevier. We will go through with the recommendations from the Elsevier, a great scientist, which how they come up about start from the title until it goes to the conclusion. What things they are looking for in our paper. Then with the part B, we will go through with the what is important for the journals. A big question here. Sometimes we have a good papers and we are rolling our papers with the different journals, but it is not getting acceptance. Most of the time it is getting the rejections at the EIC test. What is the reason? Does it mean that our paper does not contain the quality? Maybe yes, or maybe no. So most of the time, maybe no. So what is the aim of today's presentation that we need to understand? If it is no, it means that our paper contains something the novelty, the work, what we have done, but it is not getting accepted. It's not going through even the EIC test. So what are the issues? What are the problems? What is the reason? For those reasons, we are here to discuss that what those things are, what journals are looking for, and how we will be align our paper with the journal requirements. Now, be clear from this, it's the second fold, that when we talk about the journal requirements, these journal requirements are not the, what we can call the general requirements, what they mentioned already on their websites, but these are some specific requirements, what they're looking for. How our paper can pass the EIC test. How our paper can go to the review. When it go to the review, then more than 50% of the chances are there that our paper can go through. It depends on the reviewers and it depends on how we are responding to their comments. But the first and the most important challenge is that how we could be able to pass the EIC test. That's the most important part. So in this part, we will be discussing actually to understand that what journals are looking for. So if we are aligned with that particular part, then there will be no issue to go through with the EIC test. And then if suppose we are means aligned with the review requirements, then there will be nobody stopped our paper to be done. And then finally, the third fold, which is actually about the tips that why journal publish our paper. What is the reason? Like suppose if we are submitting a paper, being an associate editor for the different number of the journals, including having the experience part with IEEE, including with the PHA, including with the Frontiers and so many other journals. So many with other research, the series of the journals and the books and so many. So we need to see what we learn from that process, okay, that why and how they can publish our work, what they are looking for, what are the tips, what they are looking for. Okay, so we need to see that either we are fulfilling that gap or not. If we are going with that, then we can see this is fine. If we are looking for with these thoughts that, okay, we need to see for the quality of the paper, it's perfect, but quality is actually representing 50%. The other 50% these things need to fulfill. That is what we are discussing in fold 2 and fold 3. So that is actually the gap most of the time that we are not able to go through with the paper, even if it is our comparatively good in quality. And even it is going to be rejected on the EIC test. So why we are saying that if the paper is good and it's rejecting with the EIC test, so you notice that 1 or 2 times when we are trying the different journals, so some of the journals, the same paper can go easily, but with the other papers, with the journals, it is not going easily. It is even receiving the EIC test rejection. So this we need to understand. This is a phenomenon. Okay, this is a procedure we need to understand. That is actually the gaps where we are lacking for. So we need to see where we are making mistakes, how we need to improve that, how we should be aligned, okay, at the same level. Then we can be able to go through with the number of things. So if we learn these things, then it will be an easy job for us because we are working with a quality. Then we are considering about what journal is required, what journal is looking for, and then we are considering that why journal is going to publish our work. So if we give them the right answers, then journal will be happy to publish for us. So before we go ahead, the third fold, when we will be discussing again, so we need to see here, if I just give you the example, okay, most of us, they are already aware about that. For example, if journal is publishing in 1 volume 12 issues, in 12 issues, if they are publishing, even if it is a high publishing rate, and if suppose they are publishing 10,000 papers, 5,000 papers, or 12,000 papers in a year, again, when you see their database, how much they are receiving. So they are receiving almost 20 times to 100 times more papers. So they are rejecting a lot of papers. And the rejection ratio, more than 27% is by the EIC test. They don't have time to take every paper. They don't have much reviewer to circulate your paper to the reviewers. So this is what is the gap that we are lacking for. So we need to meet that one. Okay, so I will be discussing about this all with the upcoming folds. So the first fold, the first part, how to get published with completely with the courtesy and with the thanks and with the credit to the elsewhere. So you will find out the references at the bottom of each slide, and also you can find out the references at the end as well. So now these are the things what the elsewhere think about our papers. And the same way the other publishers as well. It's Nature, it's elsewhere, either it's Springer, either it's IEEE, whatever publishers. So if you see, if you just allow me to make a pointer, it will be more easy. Yeah, so if you just pointer. So see why publish. Number one is a question. Before we go to the journal, we need to ask a question from ourselves. Why publish? Publishing is not a thing that we can have something and we can go and we can just, for the publishing. No. If we go like in this thoughts, if we go with this thinking, then we will be always in trouble. Maybe we will be trying a lot when we will be submitting 10 to 20 papers, and very luckily, maybe we can go through with the 1 or 2 papers. This attitude will demotivate us. We will start thinking, oh, research is very hard. Oh, it's very hard to go through with the journals. Oh, there are so many different. So what happened that finally it will be demotivating to us. So we need to understand first that what to publish and what not to publish. That is the most important point. The first check, that means not by the journal, but that is the first check that has to be done by our own self. Okay, if we are making a mistake at this stage, then the rest, all of these stages, automatically we cannot qualify. Resulting will be that we will be always rolling our papers, wasting our time, and getting demotivated, and understanding, oh, this cannot be done. Okay, so we need to understand. So what to publish? So you can see, if suppose something which is new and original results are methods, then that is the right piece of work to go for publishing. If you don't have any new work, if you don't have any original work, if you don't have any novelty, if you're not producing any extra method, then better not to think about publishing. Then again, we will be in a rolling process. So we can publish even the reviews or summaries of particular subject. Now, this is within the codes that when we go for the reviews and summaries and particular subjects, we may not go for a review for anything, and we can say, okay, we can go for a review for ABC, we can go for a review XYZ, and because it is we can publish, so we can publish. No. This we will learn in the fold number 2 and fold number 3. Why it is no? We need to be very specific. If we are going to publish the reviews or the summaries, we need to see what we are going to publish. So maybe in a cut short, that when we are going for reviews and these things, so we need to see that how we are contributing to the literature. Say, for example, if we are providing the reviews or summaries for a specific domain. For example, we are just going for Society 5.0 or Industry Revolution 5.0. So when we are coming up with the reviews, what we are concluding, how we are ending up, when the anyone go through with that, what our contribution to the literature, what direction we are giving to the other people, why other people will come and read our paper, what direction, what hint they can get and they can continue from our part. If these things are missing, then again it will be a rolling paper. This is very important. So the reviews, if we start, say for example, writing a review for something which is already secured enough, matured enough area domain, and a lot of research already done. And we took that idea and we start writing a review. Why? Because most of the people, they think if we go for that, we can find out a lot of the literature is available. It's easy. We can go through with a 400, 500, 1000 even papers and we can come up with good review. But the paper will be rolling. Why rolling? Because for what idea you're working for, okay, that is already set. You will not be able to come up to give the right directions to the researchers. What they will get, what you are contributing from your literature, nothing, almost none. So in that particular case, journals will not. So these things, how we need to the part 2 and parts B and C, they will be helping us to understand how this is. Okay, so this is an important point. The point we discuss, the point we finalize, what we are looking for to publish. Okay, then the manuscript, that advanced knowledge and understanding in certain scientific field. The most important part is the certain scientific field, the trending field, the field where the researchers have a direction they are looking for. This is the right time to publish about the 60. This is the right time to publish about the Industrial Revolution 5. This is the right time to publish about cybersecurity. This is the right time to publish about the artificial intelligence, deep learning, and these things. This is the right time to publish about healthcare 5.0. This is not the right time to publish about safe and simple 3G. This is not the right time that we publish about the Industrial Revolution 3 or before. So we need to see that what certain science field we are taking and what era we are going to is where we are looking. We can go now for cloud computing, a lot of the options. We can go for the vehicle-to-vehicle networks. We can go for the Internet of Things. We can go for so many things. So why we are going for the wrong side? That is also, this is the our primary stone. If we make a mistake from this stone, then all of the rest of the steps, they will be useless for us. So for the hint from the journal elsewhere, what they are suggesting that the reports, if we have the reports, but there is no scientific interest, no need to go for publishing. Now, what do you mean by scientific interest? That is very much linked with the presentation part B and C. So if it is not leading, not providing a pointer to the researcher, then it is useless. Then out of date work, that what we just discussed, if suppose we are now start working about 3G, that's outdated. That's already saturated. Then it will be a challenging for us. Okay, maybe you know about so many thoughts from the researchers. Hey, if you do the work in software engineering, it is very hard to publish. Our journals are very particular, very hard. Partially they are correct. But why we're saying partially they are correct? Because that area, that domain is saturated enough. So if you're going for that particular domain, for that particular area, then you need to see that what are the future directions. Then it will be easy for you. Otherwise, what you are coming up, okay, that the journals, they consider it as outdated. And journals are not ready, not happy to publish. Why they publish? They want to select one paper, they have 100 paper. Why they go for our paper? Again, you will get the answer in section B and C. They are very important. Now, the duplications of the previously published work. Already they have a lot of the papers, 100 of papers. They are journals, they are supposed to select only one. And we are just coming up with the duplication of the work. How they will select? That paper, that type of work will receive EIC designation. What not to publish? These are things they will straight away, means within 1 week, within few journals very fast, you will receive within few days the EIC rejection. And they have already, in their database a typed email that sorry, we didn't find a novelty, blah, blah, blah. But this doesn't mean that your paper is not as per the standard. We wish you best of luck. You can go to another journal. That means that we are lacking from this particular part. So incorrect and unacceptable conclusions. We're doing A, claiming A in abstract, doing B in our methods, and in conclusion, we are claiming C. It cannot go on. So our paper need to be very much organized, very much concise, very much clear, very much linked with all of the sections. What we are claiming in our abstract, the same thing. What we are getting is support from the literature. The same thing, what we are doing in our methods. The same thing, what we are achieving related results. And then we can come up with it. And the conclusion, what we are claiming in the abstract, are we aligned with that? We are mapping with that? That is the means writing, then it's perfect. Then we can go for that. Otherwise, it is unacceptable. That type of the paper, if you're not taking care of these points, that will be also receive EIC, that's rejection. So we need a good manuscript, okay, to present your contributions to the scientific community. Now, here is another challenge as well. Sometimes what we do, we have good work, we have good results, we have good, claims, but we don't know how to draft them. Others don't know how to draft them. Also, that is lacking. So, what happened? Again, the paper will receive EIC test rejection. So you remember I said at early, the quality of a paper is matter to the journal 50%. So I hope from these points you understand. If you have quality but you're not presenting well, that will not go. Even if you receive the EIC test. And other points we'll be discussing later as well. So these all points are important, though the quality has a higher ratio, which is 50%, but the other 50% is very important. How you are drafting the paper, how you are presenting your paper, how you're making a link of your paper, how you're going through with the different sections. So for those all sections we will be discussing in this part A. And then the rest of the things that we will be discussing in part B and part C. So here we go. So now you see the most precious source for any journal is actually the editors and the associate editors. They are under stress. It is not an easy job to give the EIC test rejection. It is not the easy job to select and pass that phase to hand over to the reviewers. A lot of time, a lot of efforts are involved in that. If they are passing a useless paper, then the rejection ratio will be higher. They are wasting their resources. So why we require a very highly qualified and professionals, a senior level guys for the EIC and the associate professors, associate editors, because they need to, with only a one bird eye view from the paper, they need to understand that what this paper contains, what is the quality and other parameters, how it will be useful for the journals, or how it will be useful for the research community, or how it will be contributing to the research community or not, and how it will be contributing to their journal as well, which is the most important point. So if they receive answer in no or questionable for any other point, they will put the yes, that's rejection. And if they see that these things are there, 80 to 90%, and pass it to the review process. Why? Because they feel that the remaining 10% can be entertained while the paper will go through with the 1 or 2 review rounds. So the reviewers can tune up the paper, the remaining things which are the weaknesses are there, they can be tuned up, and then the paper will be meeting their expectations and paper can go through. This is how it is very important. The success of any journal, it depends completely on the associate editors and editor-in-chief. Associate editor and editor-in-chief are very equal and important. Why? Say, for example, if we have a multidisciplinary journal, for example, IEEE Access. So the people are submitting the papers from different disciplines. So now the AIC cannot be expert for all of the domains. So in some of the cases, the few of the journals, they have AIC board. So they have the multiple people they can sit and decide. They are really under pressure. They're really under pressure. Few of the journals, your papers are get published, but then it come online. In some cases sooner, in some cases take time, and you get the volume number and issue number maybe after 2 years. One of my student paper, he was doing the master's. It was published 2 years before. He done his master's almost 1 year before, and only the last week we received the volume number and paper got online. So after means almost 18 months, the paper after acceptance, it got online. So you just think about it, how much long queue only for the accepted papers, which is only the 1%. 1% in a sense that how many numbers of paper they are receiving. So how hard, how many filters are there? With this tough environment, if we will make mistakes, nobody has time to go through with our paper. So we need to be careful. So now these are the most precious people. That's the reason. Okay. So most of the editors are unpaid, especially associate editors. They are unpaid. They are not getting payment. A few of the means AIC, they are paid. Very many. That's a very tough job. That's a chain which can continue our research to the next level. So going ahead, now this will give you means a simple picture. It's not very much updated. Okay, maybe it's a bit older, but can give you an overview and idea. So see from here that this is the time in weeks. Okay, submission to print means this is how long it's taking, means that this is an average basis. As I mentioned to you that a few journals are taking 1 year, 1.5 years, 2 years, and even more. But this is normally taking 15 weeks, which is almost 1 year. So see for the different channels they put for acceptance, how long? 5 weeks for acceptance, for longer, 25 weeks. Okay, so you can see what would be the average. So submission to first online, this is means going to be 8 weeks. If it is a shorter period, and if it is a longer period, then it takes the 31 weeks. Submission to print, it is taking means normally 13 weeks, and then this is going to up to the 50 weeks. How? Why it is much difference based on the journals, how much occupied, and also based on the mode of the journals. Like most of the journals nowadays, they are open access. So open access journals, they can means put your paper online under the section online files. But the subscription journals, they won't. They will wait until your paper, your volume number, and these things will come. So this is another question in why it is like that. Okay? Because when you go to the section B and C, that's the most important part. So if my student means already he's done his master's and his paper after 1 year, it's got published. So in research, every day the new things are done. Now who will cite that paper? The people will cite the latest work. Maybe a lot of the latest work after that is already done and that's already published in open access or in other journals. That's available. So now when you start writing the paper, why you will cite the paper which is means published now, but it was written almost 1.5 years or 2 years before. So I can tell you my own experience for the one of the journal. I submitted my paper. Okay, it took 3 years of process. After 3 years, it got acceptance. Do you think that after 3 years, the paper got acceptance, and when it will go to the online, okay, it was the subscription journal. When it goes to the online, maybe the 6 months more or 1 year more, we don't know. Who will cite them? If you are writing something about, say for example, Industry Revolution 4.0 at early stage, and it's taking 3 to 4 years. When it got published and the people are already working for Industry Revolution 5.0, who will cite the paper? So again, you will start thinking, demotivating. Oh, I put a lot of efforts and this much long time when means spent, and now my paper is online. Nobody is reading to my paper. That's another thing. Means maybe we will discuss some other part. Okay, but it is a link, a little link it is, because it will demotivate others. So this is how long these are taking the time. Again, with thanks to the Elsevier, as we mentioned, with the means credit and courtesy to Anthony. This is from the Elsevier head office there. So how to get your paper published before you start? First and the most important part is that you need to see what you are supposed to publish and what you're not supposed to publish. We already understand these points. Now we're just going with a quick overview that what journals are expecting from the paper, from us. Why our paper would be among the 1%, not in the published one, only that could be selected one which can be means passing the AIC test. So don't be panicked. What we discussed, that it is a huge number and like that, not a problem. You can publish the tens of papers every year. Nobody is stopping you if you are going according to the rules. If you are considering that what things are required, then you will be able to publish in good journals, in good translations, in high impact factor journals as well. That's not a problem. So what is it? Questions to answer before you write your paper. That is the most important part. Like what we discussed, why you want to publish. You must have a strong reason. Why? If you don't have a reason, like suppose what we discussed, if you're not falling in that category, then it will be a problem for you. So again, the same. If it is a new and interesting one, if it is a current and hot topic, that's very important. You cannot publish. Now, the point here, again, you will get the answer in part 2 and part 3. The point here, it doesn't mean that your work is below the quality. Your work means having a good quality, even good quality from the other papers which are published in the same time. But you're not touching to the hot topics. Journal will not happy to go through with your papers. Why? A big why, we will have the answer in part B. Okay, so just wait for that. So have you provided the solutions to some of the difficult problems or not? Which means that are you really contributing to the society? To the society here, we mean the research community, the research society. What do you mean by contributing to the research society or research community? It means that there are the chances that the other researchers, they can take your work and continue your work. So we will discuss again with examples. Okay. Say for example, we see in each of the domain, there are so many classic papers. Those guys who belongs to the computer science, to the IT, and especially to the wireless networks. So we know about, especially about the sensors network. So I hope that most of us, we know about the Leech protocol and sensing network. That's a classic one that was done almost in 2000, almost 22 years back. Do you imagine how much citations are that produced? It's not in hundreds, it's not in thousands, multiple thousands. I'm not sure, I didn't check recently. Maybe it crossed to the 100,000 only for one paper. The reason is what? The reason is because they are interesting to the difficult problem. The authors, they address to the difficult problem, and they help to the research community, and they show the different directions to the research community to continue their work from that point. So journalists will be looking like this. If the same authors are bringing their work, they will be saying, okay, please, welcome. Why? Again, we will get the answer in section B. So are you ready to publish at this point? So if we are ready to that with these points, then yes, we can decide to go for publishing. Now, means next part starts. If all answers are yes, okay, then we start preparation of our manuscript. Then only we need to. If answers are no, then we see can we make that yes or no. If we cannot make yes for all answers, better not to go for that. That will be waste of time. We need to rethink and we need to rethink about something else, about something other. We have yes, that means now we have a green signal. We have to make our mind and we can start. So when we start our work, then we need to see that what we have that will be the best fit for what type of manuscript. Because we know that a lot of the different manuscripts are types of there. Is that piece of work is qualify for a full article? Is a complete piece of research? Full article is what it means that if suppose it is a complete piece of a research, then it can qualify for your full article. That will be most important, substantial paper, like the leech what we discussed. If it is not like that, probably okay, maybe it can qualify as a letters. Most senior people, they go for the letters, letters. Then journal will accept the letters with its significance, even though it's limited by its significance, but not with an open heart. The reason you will learn in section B. Or if it's not like that, then we can decide, oh, okay, this can qualify for the review paper. So you know that most of the journals, they don't accept review papers. They said if you have a review paper, we will just go with invitation. You need to contact the editor. Editor will go through with your paper, and if suppose they feel, they will invite you, and after that you can go for the review paper. Why? What's the reason? We will get answer for that in section B. Why? What's the reason? Why they are not much interested towards the short communication or the letters? We will get the answer in section B. So we need to see, we need to self-evaluate our own work, that where we really stand. Either it qualified for a conference paper, depend on the contribution. Either it qualified for the book chapter, either it qualified for the letters, either it qualified as a survey paper, either it qualified for the review paper, either it qualified for the SLR, either it qualifies for a full-fledged research article. Okay, either it qualifies for the short means research. So we need to be clear. We may not hide anything from ourselves. We need to know what we have in our hand. If we know exactly, then we can go exactly. Otherwise, again, our paper will be rolling. Who is responsible? We ourselves are responsible because we didn't identify that in practice. A review paper cannot be published as a full paper. Journals will not accept. A full paper cannot be accepted as a review paper. A letter cannot be accepted as full paper. A conference paper can be accepted with a one go with an excellent, means warm welcome, but that cannot be accepted for the journal paper. And journal paper cannot be accepted for the conference paper. So there are the different rules, limitations. We need to understand these points. They are very important. So once we understand these things, okay, then we need to identify the right audience for your paper. You're writing a paper. Every paper is not for everyone. The medical science paper is very good, maybe good, excellent, but it is maybe useless for me. So that domain doesn't belong to me. A design paper, an excellent paper, but that is useless for me. If I'm writing a cybersecurity means with a very cutting edge, say for example, I'm writing a digital twin. It's very nice paper, it's excellent paper, it's awarding paper, but it is useless for the medical people. But it's useless for the means education people, but it's useless for the management people. So we need to see that who are the audience. We need to identify the right audience. Okay? Because when we're writing the paper, we're writing not the paper for us, we're writing the papers for others, which is means we are targeting which community. If that paper is interested for them, then it will have higher chance to pass the EIC test. On top of that, when we are submitting our paper, most of the people, they made the mistakes. Like suppose when they are receiving the review comments, they feel, oh, the reviewer don't understand. My work is like that. No, this is a wrong attitude. Now, when you submit your paper, you need to see if the reviewer is not understanding your work. That means that is your problem. What is your problem? That probably you never please, your presentation is lacking. That is the reason this reviewer is not understanding. If reviewer understand your work, what you are intend to do, if they understand clearly, they will don't have a question. Maybe they put the minor comments and you can go, your work can go. If you're receiving a lot of huge comments, the people say, oh, this journal is very hard, we are receiving a lot of the comments. No, it is not a problem with the channel. It's a problem of our own. It means we have a gaps what we are presenting in presentation of our work or in quality of our work. Any lacking that is from our side. If we go through as per the rules of the research, probably then automatically that will be understandable by the reviewers, because those reviewers are actually from our domain, from our audience. They are means one of the person from our audience. So once the reviewer understand our work, generally see, okay, why? It means the reviewer is itself is from our audience, targeted audience. So the journal will think, okay, reviewer understand, it means all of the audience, they understand, they can read and they can cite the paper. Go for acceptance. So if you're receiving a lot of comments, that's our own problem. Don't say something that is a general problem. So we need to verify their interest. That's very important, like what we discussed about the what means hot topics in each of the domain. Okay. Determine the range of interest, local versus international. This is a highly important, critically important. A lot of the times when we are preparing our research proposals and we are submitting our thesis ideas and so many things, most of the time, due to the lack of experience or lack of knowledge or something, we try to make a huge problem while we are selecting the scope of our work. We are targeting, say for example, you can find out the different papers. Okay, you just go through with the study, you will find out a lot of different problems. So that's the mistake of the researchers, the team, the authors. Say for example, I'm doing something. Okay, I'm doing something, this is for Selangor. I'm doing something, this is for Malaysia. I'm doing something, this is for Asian subcontinent or continent. So this means that we are reducing the scope. Journal will not be happy to take that one. If that is targeting only to Selangor, it means that work will be cited only for those people who will be again working for the Selangor. So the audience level will be reduced. Journal will not be happy to answer. You will get it in section B. So we need to see that our audience level should be higher, higher, higher as much as possible. Not necessarily always means, globally. It depends on the nature of the work, but we can see that how easily we can expand that. Not targeting only to the locals, but we target to the international as well. Okay. Now, selecting the best journal, that is the most critical point as well. A lot of the different publishers are there. Well-known publishers, partially well-known publishers, and not known publishers. But the most of them, they are indexed, with the Web of Science, with the Scopus, and with so many other databases as well. But we don't know about the journals. Maybe we know 10 journals, 20 journals, 100 journals, 200 journals. But the journals are in hundreds of thousands of journals. You just see the JCR. JCR is actually the Journal Citation Report, for those who don't know, which is yearly. So you just see that, means latest report. Maybe later, if you remind at the end, I can show you. So you see that report, how many journals are there? And those journals are only those journals which are indexed by Web of Science, and they fall under, means at least ESCI category. So there are a lot of the journals, more than double of the journals which are not indexing Web of Science. We have different indexing databases. So when we are coming up with a paper, so we need to choose the right journals. If we make a mistake and we are coming up from the previous phases, perfect. If we make a mistake here, again, there will be a challenge. So you need to look at your references. What I mean by the references what you're using in your paper. Say, for example, you have 30 to 40 to 50 references. You need to see from those references actually from which journal they belongs. You are using the latest references. You are compiling your paper. Now your paper is ready. So you just go through only from your references. Okay, most of my references are from this journal, from this IEEE, or Springer, or elsewhere, or IET, or whatever it is. This will give you an idea. Oh, okay, these are my target journal. Because why we are referencing? Because they are related work. So our related work is already published with those journals. So it means those are the right journals. So that a quick tip that can help us to find out the miswriting. And there are a lot of the different online tools available. They can recommend. They are provided by the journals itself. Okay. At the end, we'll show you, if the time will permit, and I will show you those links that how we can find out the journal from the elsewhere, from the Springer, from the IEEE, from MDPI, from Hindawi, from IET, from any publication. So there are a lot of resources we need to use them to find out the right journal. But if we don't know, at least that is an easy parameter. We look in our own references at what we are using, and we see where that work is published. That will be, a reverse engineering that can help us to go, to narrow down the journals out of those 100 of thousands of the journals that can help us. Review recent publications in each candidate. So when you find out the 5-6 journal, then you can go through and see recently what is their trend, what they are publishing. What is the trend, what they are publishing? It means those papers are getting acceptance, are passing the IC test. So that will help you. Okay, just paper is ready and just to submit in any journal in ABC, that is, you make a huge mistake, and always you will be again going down and wasting your time, because most of the journal, they give you the first decision, as you noticed in the previous slides, from 5 weeks to 13 weeks. So it means that you are losing the time, losing your efforts. Most of the journals, they are asking you to convert into the templates. So you need to revise. Perfect. So ask yourself the following question while you're choosing the journal. Number one, see if it is peer reviewed or not. Who are the audience? If your paper belongs to IT and the ideas for that journal is medical, then it's not the right choice. Okay. So what I mean that it's not the right choice. Okay. Probably sometime, the medical journal, it can take, the healthcare journal, they can take, the prominent people, they can take the special issues, and they are trying to link the information technology with the medical or some other technology, the multidisciplinary approach. So the papers are there, and now you're citing that paper. Now you're going from your reference list. Oh, okay, this journal is good for me, but you need to see in a broader spectrum that who are the audience. This is the case, try to avoid that. It will be not easy to go through from that journal. So see about the average time to print. Okay, and see the most important point, which is the impact factor. If it does not have the impact factor, it's useless. most of the parts, word you cannot use it, okay, for your promotions. You cannot use that for your appraisals. You cannot use that for your qualification of your PG degrees. You cannot use that for your post-tax. It's useless. Why? What is impact factor? Why it is impact? We will answer that section D. So decide the one journal and do not submit in multiple journals. This is a very critical point. Very huge mistake. We're submitting in multiple journals. So you know, if you are submitting in elsewhere journal, hundreds and thousands of elsewhere journals, their database is being handled from a single point. You are submitting in multiple journals, you will be tracked today or tomorrow. You will be blacklisted. This is completely unethical. So don't go with this practice. Okay, so submit one journal. That is why it is important to come up with the right journal. What is the right journal? Right now, an international editor, what he says about this thing. Okay, so these are the following problems appear in his point of view. Okay, much too frequently. What these problems are: submission of the paper which are clearly out of the scope, like what we are discussing right now. Okay, so sorry, just give me 1 minute just to take some water. We put a lot of efforts. Our work is good. Everything is good. Contribution is means everything is yes. What we discussed till now. But we submit in paper which does not have a scope. Or yes, that's rejection. Failure to format. This is very important. Paper according to the guideline of the authors. Few journals are very strict. Even if you miss the comma, they will throw your paper back. Few journals, they are lenient. Few journals, they don't care about is your formatting. They say your paper, your way, however you want to submit, and later means their typesets, they will convert it. I believe that is a good approach, but those journals are very few. So inappropriate are no suggested reviewers. Most of the journals, they ask to suggest the reviewers. Now you don't know the reviewers. You make a mistake. You are putting because the system is not allowing to go to the next stage. You are just entering to submit your paper, and you are submitting with the reviewers, suggesting the reviewers which are not appropriate. What do you mean by not appropriate? There's a very first-hand rule for that. You cannot suggest a reviewer from the university from where the author belongs. You cannot recommend a reviewer means more than one from the same institute. You cannot recommend the reviewer from the same country more than one. You cannot recommend a reviewer who does not have the domain. You cannot recommend a reviewer who does not have any related paper to that. A lot of different things. That again, it goes to the, completely maybe a separate presentation. So we need to be careful about these things again. They will put the rejection. They don't have a lot of the reviewers. Reviewer means it's a volunteer job mostly. More than 90% is, even 99% is, it means the volunteer job. You don't have time. They are already receiving a lot of papers. Why they go with our wrong data? Inadequate response to them. Journals are very strict. If you are just trying to play with them, they will miss through your paper. Only you are lucky if you are not responding correctly and they are giving you the end of the chance. So please don't make this mistake. Inadequate standards of English is highly important because that will make the presentation of your work. And then later it will be important for the readers to understand your work. And later it is highly important for the journals as well. So journal will not compromise on that. Why? Answer will be in section B. Resubmission of rejected manuscript without revision. This is also most of the authors, they make mistake. Say for example, we submitted one paper. We've gone through with all our checks. They are correct, fine. And when it goes to the review, because as we discussed, EICS is clear. EICS cannot be expert for all of the domains. but apparently he feels that your paper is fine. It goes to the reviewer. Reviewers are the real audience of your domain. And he put a lot of in and you say paper rejected. AIC will reject. Even sometimes the reviewers say major comments, AIC will reject. Why? I'll let you know. Even sometimes the reviewers are saying means minor comments and AIC will give you the major comments. So again, you will get the answer for these questions. So now if your paper is rejected, or you feel, oh, leave this journal, I'm just going to another journal, because while you are searching for the right journal, so you put in the list, this is first choice, second choice, third choice. Thought, okay, why not I go to the second choice journal now? You're free to go. Nobody is stopping you. But don't make a mistake without addressing those comments to some area. If you will do that, you will receive the same sort of the response. Again, you waste your time. So those comments are actually given by your domain people, the community, the audience to whom you are targeting. That means that these things are lacking from your paper. And if you are not fulfilling that lacking, you cannot go through. That is the first point that we started. That our work is good, but sometimes we are not able to fulfill the research gap or that lacking. And that is the reason that our papers are not accepted in the high level of the journals. So that is very critical, right? So we need to be rethink. Whenever you receive a comment, even if it's a single line comment, we need to address first, and then we can go to the other journal publication. What makes a good manuscript? The most important one. That contain a clear and useful, means exciting scientific message. We have good work. Again, this is a language problem. We don't know how to write, how to present. We will be in trouble. Should be clear message, useful message. Everybody can know, oh, wow, you are doing this. That's great. That can be continued. I can do the further. So the flow in logical manner that reader can. Keep in mind, you're writing your paper not for you. You're writing your paper for the readers, for the audience, for the community. So think from their perspective. Don't think from your perspective. That is the huge mistake that we are doing. Most of the time, we write our paper from our own perspective. And then our paper is, the rolling ball. Because when it goes to the audience, to the reviewers, they don't understand. So think that how you will write the paper from their perspective. Format it to the best showcase material. That's why most of the journals, they recommend you to go with the latex. Because with the latex, you can there's no question about that if you're following the template. Presentations highly matter. One example, which is maybe not related to this one. Most of the time you're going for, to shop and doing the shopping. Most of the time, most of the things they attract us, and even they are costly, we just buy. And when we come at home and we open, we say, oh, what I buy? I just wasted my money. Why you buy? Just because of its presentation. Just because of a nice presentation. So presentation is very important. You can see more than 20+% it goes to the presentation. And presentation covers a lot of things. You've written how you write the paper, how the structure of your paper, how the figures you are using, how clear they are. Most of the time what we do, we just put the big figures. No, you must use high resolution SVG figures. Okay, because that is giving the quality to your work. Again, keep in mind that you're writing the papers for audience. So see from audience perspective, not from your own perspective. Right? So is the written style that transmit message clearly or not? Don't make grammatical mistakes. And don't deviate from your point. Sometimes you're saying here something else, in other section something else, in other section something else. That is critical. So you see here a word about your words that what we are doing. Okay, this is not a creative writing class. So what we are saying about the presentation, okay, so you need to be very serious about that. Need to be very concise about that. You need to be very because the journal, why they will give us the space to publish our paper? They have a lot of choices. We need to attract their attention as well. We need to be very concise. If clarity achieved in n words, never use even n+1. Don't try to extend the length of your paper just for the sake. Just don't try to add anything else. Okay, just be very specific, very concise. If you are done with n, no need to n+1. No need to done means go for n+001. Okay, this is more difficult. Even you cannot imagine from the perspective of the associate editor of the editor. Sometimes just because of these points, your paper is thrown back. That's very critical. Please be careful of that. Only be specific. Word to word, line to line, sentence to sentence, paragraph to paragraph. Be very specific. That's highly important. Now, what your things that can make your manuscript good? Okay, so in the eyes of the editors first. So writing a good manuscript is not easy. It is easy actually if we are following those set principles. What we are discussing. If you are just started writing, oh, this is the experiment I've done, this is abstract, this is introduction, blah blah blah. Useless. If we follow, there is an art to finalize your titling, to finalize your abstracting, to finalize your introduction for each section. We need to learn that. So be prepared to work hard on it. Okay. If you do not take care, why should journal take care about your paper? Paper belongs to you. That's your property. You yourself don't take care about your work, then why the journal will take care about that? So this is a critical point. So there is no secret recipe for success. Only you need to be following the principles. Simple rule is what? Dedication and hard work. Do with dedication. Don't try to be very fast. Okay, I can do that means this, like this, like this, like this. You know, if your paper is ready, you're already done. Finally, if you are sending a paper to the expert of your domain, if he's giving you the 5 to 6 comments only, trust me, that is almost equivalent to the work you have done. That expert opinion, that means a few comments, will make it possible to go through with your paper. Without that, maybe you cannot. So you need to work hard to go through with the different filters, to go through with the different levels and take care about all of these points. Editors and reviewers are all disease scientists. Just like you, make things easy and save their time. As a reviewer, for example, if some paper comes to you and if you don't understand the work, you will never put a 1 hour to read line by line. Your first impression will go, oh, this paper is not good. Give him major revision. I'll just reject that. Try to be safe from that, perspective about your paper. So you need to be very specific, work with very dedication. Once paper ready, you try to share with the, very good prominent person of the domain, so he can have a bird eye view and can give you the few points. These points are actually the topping of your paper that can go through, make easy to go through of your paper. Now, yes, we need to keep an eye on the time as well. Thanks, Dr. Osna. You kept already a good amount of time, but the research, we can talk from morning to evening. So that's great. Please pinpoint me once we are half time as well. So see, for the structure of the full architecture, normally it is, we start from title, then authors, then abstract, and keyword, and then our main text. Okay, then we goes to the introduction, methods, results, and discussions, conclusions, acknowledgements, references, and sometimes supplementary materials we also provide, depending on paper, depending on journal, depending on domain. Everything is important. If you're making a mistake, one level even, it will be up again. So that's truly critical. We need to see everything, and we need to see how they are interlinked with each other. The most important point here, they don't have only a flow, but they are interdependent. You know, when you are coming up with your title needs to be supported through the abstract. Sorry, to the authors. What do you mean by supported to the? For example, if some paper is purely related to the medical, and in authors my name is appeared, okay, the general editor will see this person belongs to the computer science, to the cyber security, and blah blah. His expertise may be 5, 6, 7, but he does not. There is nothing is used related to the means technology. This is purely medical paper. How come this author is there? This is not supporting to the title. Paper will be out. Abstract will be supporting to the authors and the title. Your keywords will be supporting to your abstract and the authors and the title, and so on. So this will be the complete, each of the section will be means supporting to the recent, previous, and to the throughout the paper. That is why it's important and related as well. We need to be very careful. We try to go through quickly, I mean, about these sections as well, and how good. So see from here, you need to write always, you know, in backward approach. Don't start right from the abstract first, because you don't know exactly what you're doing. So how you can do writing, you need to go up, down, up, down, up, down. Means you need to revisit the sections again and again and refine them. So see for here, writing in order, first of all, the figures and table. Why the figures and table? Because when you have something, remember the first point, we decided that we have something new, we have some result that from where you can get from your figures and tables. Then you see about your methods, okay, and your complete results and discussion. Then you see about your conclusion and introduction, and finally you can go abstract. Then again, you need to revisit from the order that we discussed. Each section has a definite purpose, okay? And each section, they are interdependent and supporting with each other. If we are missing a link from any point, then we need to be ready for rolling paper. Now, develop your title. For example, this is your opportunity to attract the reader's attention. And this is your opportunity to attract the EIC and the reviewers and the associate reviewers, editors as well. You know, this is very important, critically important. If your title is useless, I'm not saying useless means in terms of the English, useless in terms of the research, it means the people will not look for you. When they start a new work, so they need the references. If you are, means they do the search based on the keywords. Those keywords are actually from the keywords of your paper and from your title, your metadata. And if they are not matching, your title is not appropriate, it will not appear in the search. Billions of papers are there in the database. If it's not appear, how people will come to your paper, how they will read it, how they will cite it. And if it is no citation, that is the point. The EIC will think, no, but that's rejection. The details again in section B. So we need to be very careful while we are selecting the title of the paper, because readers are the potential authors who will cite your article. We are writing the paper for the readers, not for us. Again, repeating. So how they will approach to our paper, how they will reach to our paper. They can access to our paper, reach our paper based on these points. So we need to be careful that at least it appears in their, you know, the search, and then only there will be a chance that they can go for that. Keep it informative and concise. That's what the point what we already discussed. Okay, avoid technical jargon and abbreviations. Abbreviations are not means encouraged in titles especially. Few of the journals they have very strict rule. Even if you put the means abbreviations, they will say just please change. So because you are targeting the large scale of the readership as possible, right? So this is the point that you need to avoid some specific, the keywords. Otherwise, it will reduce the scope of your paper. You need to be it's very specific when you're writing the topic that can give means a wider meaning and also cover that what you are doing. So how do you do? So you need to discuss with your co-authors. If you are a student, then you can discuss with your supervisors. If you are a collaborator, then you need to see and discuss with your co-authors. It's very important. It's critically important. Then abstract. You know that there are the different types of the abstract as well. So when we write abstract, again, we have the different steps of writing the abstract as well. We need to follow that, and we need to define the proper linkage between them as well. It should stand alone, okay, your abstract, and it should represent to what you are doing. Consider it the advertisement of your article. Any person, any reader, when they download your paper, first part what they will read the abstract. They will learn what you are doing, how you are doing, what results you achieved, what problem you are addressing. And if that is clear to them, to the readers, then they will go through with your paper. And if they will go through your paper, then only possibly they get impressed, and then they can only cite it. If that part is not clear, they will just delete your paper. Even though you got success, you put the right title, now it appears in the search, it was downloaded, but again useless. So that's the critical point. That is the advertisement of your article. Should tell the prospective reader that what you did and highlight the key findings. Revisit your abstract multiple times, several times. This is very important. Okay. Still, most of the time you will receive the comments from, whoever the senior reviewers are. They will give you the comments that reference. Sorry, abstract. Don't be angry for that. It means you are liking for something. That is the place we are mentioning what we are doing, what we are claiming, how we are doing, how we are achieving, what's significant about research. Then we need to see how we are mapping that to the conclusion part. So you must be accurate and specific about that. Use the words which reflect the precise meaning. Okay? Don't try to put here and there. It's very specific. You are answerable. Simply, if I just put it as a bottom line, as an author, you are answerable for a single letter what you are including in your abstract. If you feel like that, then your abstract will be a crystal clear picture. The first success, the first marketing about your paper. So a clear abstract strongly influences whether or not your work further considered. That will help you to get clearance from the EIC desk. From the EIC desk, the most important part is your title and your abstract, and then the other sections. If he is quite happy from this, then he can pass it to the, because results he is concerned, but most of the time if he does not belong to your domain, then he cannot know the depth that what you have done. But these things are very important for any of the EIC. So follow the word limitation. A good abstract is between 200 to 250 words only. But in sometimes, depending on the nature of our work, you can go beyond that, and again you can go maximum 300 words. Mostly we use the 300 words abstract, that is in book chapters. We use the abstract in conferences, even 150 letters. For journals, we try to keep it up to 200 words. So if you are extending more, a very wrong message, then author does not know how to write abstract. If author does not know how to write abstract, then author for sure does not know how to write introduction, literature, methods, everything, conclusion. So the EIC will put pause on your paper. So see, this is a small mistake, but what is the cost for that? You know, most of the time, the researchers, they get the trainings, multiple time trainings that how to write the abstract. We need to know what's the difference for the abstract, for the journal paper, for the conference paper, for the book chapter, for the letters, for our thesis. All of the abstracts are different. We need to understand that how, in terms of length, in terms of findings, in terms of so many things, it's very critical and very important to understand. That is the success key for your paper. Then keywords. Again, that's the metadata. And critically important. They are labels for your manuscript. Okay, your manuscript will be recognized, identified based on the keywords what you are presenting. They are very critical to correct indexing and searching because they will be your metadata. Your Google will be searching, bringing your paper in the search based on that keywords. So if you are taking very bold or very broad or very narrow or means any type of a mistake you're doing, they will not appear. Your paper will not appear. The point AIC realized that your paper will not appear in search, again, throwback. Why? You will get the answer in section B. Choose only those abbreviations that are firmly established. Okay, means which are known by the research community. Don't create your own abbreviations like a DNA, like IoT. Okay, but if you are using some keyword and which is actually means not very prominent and you are creating the the abbreviations for that, that is means you are wasting your paper. You are losing the chance to get through from the AIC, and also you are losing the chance to get the right citations for your paper. So you need to check the guide for authors from the different journals they provide. Numbers, labels, definitions, how we need to go. Okay, for the these keywords. So you need to go from 3 to 5 keywords. Some journals they give you permissions up to 7 keywords. So be very specific and use 3 to 5. So at least I recommend you that you can go at least 5 keywords because that is the tool, the source, the metadata which will bring your paper in means when you are searching for. When we are starting the research, we search related work. If some paper doesn't appear, how can we know that the paper is exists even though it's an excellent one? And there's no citation for that. So this is important. Introduction. So introduction is critically important as well. Every part of the paper is important. Okay? So we need to learn how to write introduction. Introduction is actually giving an introduction to the reader about the domain, about the problem, what you're addressing, about that particular means perspective that what you're doing. So you can see this is the chance to convince the reader of the importance of your work. So if reader like your means introduction, or he or she will be convinced, then only they go to the next, your part. So describe the problem clearly that what you are doing. What are means there any existing solutions they are? What are their main limitations and what to do, hope to achieve? Now, most of these things we are already, means trying to cover a little bit in abstract, but we cannot provide because detail because of the word limitation. But here you need to be very specific and very clear. Provide means very clear perspective and the consistency with the nature of the journal. And this is another point where you are trying to link your paper with the scope of the journal to get it done from the AIC desk. So introduce the main scientific publications on which your work is based. Means your benchmarking. Provide benchmarking. Okay, what you're doing and compare the benchmarking. Cite that particular benchmarking. and show that how you are improving the work compared with the benchmarking. Show your contribution, okay, exactly and clearly contribution. Like say, for example, you are saying we work in abstract, we work this, and our results are this much, this much. Now here you need to pinpoint what are your contributions. Cite a couple of original and important work, including the recent reviews article. Don't cite anything old in introduction. Only one or two paper in case it's supposed, depending on work. If it's a classic work, we cannot avoid that. Like the reach example, what we discussed. Editors had the references irrelevant to the work or inappropriate, actually, judgments on your achievements. Don't be, so much claims. Oh, I mean, means our work do like this, like this, like no. Be concise, be accurate, be clear, be honest with yourself. If you don't, your paper will be rolling. You will be wasting your time. Okay, so these are the points where we are lacking actually. Now, when we go for the introduction and we are making the mistakes mostly, we are putting two words. No need to use so many words. Your good introduction may be maximum 1 page. In some cases, maybe 1.5 page. Don't try to take it lengthier. Again, as we discussed, you will be responsible for each letter, each word what you are putting in the paper. So do not turn this section into history lesson. Okay, so where the readers may lose interest. Don't tell them history. Be very specific. See that the reader will not lose the interest. Okay, this is actually a very important, a mixed bag of introduction with results, discussions, conclusion to for the good readers. Always keep sections separate to ensure manuscript flow logically, which means that you can put the different paragraphs. For each paragraph in introduction, you put to talk about introduction, talk about problem, you talk about recent work, you talk about your contribution. If good is, then you can share the one of the good related picture as well, figure as well in the introduction. That will give a quick, a picture can talk 1,000 words. Quick understanding to the reader. So our focus is that how the reader understands. The reader understands, reviewer understands. Okay. So this is how you need to be very careful while you're writing your introduction. Now, while you're going for your method sections, your experiment sections, very important section. Details, and details. Okay. A knowledgeable reader should be able to produce the experiment. What do you mean by the detail? It doesn't mean that you just enhance the write-up. It means you need to provide the description of all your steps, your phases, what you have adopted for your experiment. Why? The reason is that, for example, if another author likes your work and he or she try to extend your work so they can get an idea and they can get the information from your paper, they may not feel a need to contact you. So they can get it and they can enhance your work. So your paper will qualify to be a benchmark for the others one. So if your paper become a benchmark for 5 or 10 different researchers, automatically, like a lead paper, it will go with a higher citation. And that will increase and enhance your I10 and your H index. Okay, that will be making you prominent in the research world. And the day you cross your H index more than 50, 1.5, and your I10 index more than 50, the most of the journals and the editors, they will start contacting you. So this is important. You need to understand everything is linked up. So however, user references means supplementary material, whatever you use, okay, and do not repeat the details of established method. Like you are discussing about the some of the benchmarking, they're already established. There, everybody knows. So no need to go through and discuss again and again and again. You're working on IoT, so you started, oh, IoT is this, in this case, this. No need. Be very specific. Okay, a general summary with the references is sufficient. Then the reviewer will criticize incomplete or incorrect descriptions. So it may come to you in terms of the rejection or major revision. So if we are receiving a major revision, again, it's not a problem of the reviewer or the journal. That's our own problem because we are lacking from that particular part. So we need to be very clear for that. So results, like suppose you can see that we need to be very specific, very clear. Don't be wordy means in the result. Use description, describe the results. Be wordy, but up to a certain level. Don't skip that part as well. Come up depending on how you are presenting in tables, how you are presenting in the charts and graphs. So the charts and graphs, they should be clear enough. Okay, the people can understand. So maybe they are not looking for what is this graph is saying. Okay, where is your method? Why there are so many others? If you are putting a table, tuck, 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 what is that? Where you are comparing? Where is the benchmark? What is your contribution? Which aspect you are improving? This is very important. We need to be very careful for that. Now, results, we need to be very careful. Don't go for cloning. It means that already some results are there, and we are just trying to, and make some changes and going for that. That is very important. Don't go for that. Only presentative results, essential for the discussion, should be presented. Just trying to enhance your results, making your section means more. Just trying to cloning with the minor difference, and you're just adding. Okay, it's fine. Your paper is okay. Your paper is good. Your contribution is good. But that paper cannot qualify for high impact journals. Then we will be looking for the normal journals. That is the mistake that we are doing. So we need to be very careful about that. Okay? Do not hide the data in the hope of saving it for the later paper. That's a huge mistake. This is the reason most of the journals, they ask you, okay, upload your data. A few journals like PhD, they ask you to upload your code as well. Okay, it doesn't mean that they have a doubt on you that what you are submitting. Okay, but keep everything open, understandable, clear. If anyone else wants to continue from your work, then you feel lucky that you can feel that you have done a good job, that someone is making the benchmark to your work. Okay? So you may lose the evidences to support your conclusion if you will be hiding something. That will be negative for you. So use these subheadings to keep results same time together. Make sections, group them, and then you can explain them back. And a clear, easy means essay to understand the story. Sorry. So you need to be very clear, very specific. What you have done, what you have achieved, what you have get, how you are comparing with your, benchmarking as well. That is the most important part you need to consider. If we are lacking from these things, again, our paper will be rolling back. So we need to be careful for that. Now it comes to the appearance. It is highly important. Among your presentation, how your paper appear, how you're using your pictures, how clear they are, how resolutions you need to keep maximum means the good quality pictures. You need to present very well. Why? What LaTeX is doing? Why journals likes to the LaTeX? That only enhances the presentation of your paper by formatting well. Otherwise, nothing. That you can do same thing with your Word or other applications. So presentation, appearance of paper is highly important. Okay, so don't go for a very crowded plots. Okay, so you need to be sure that how you are presenting. And when you're coming up with any the picture or the photographs or the graphs, they must have some scale. Okay, like if we just go back, so just see from here, the most of the time what others they are making mistake, they come up with the graph, they don't have scale. And sometimes if suppose they have a scale, then they don't have actually the X and Y, captions. That's what it is. Oh, 60, 70, what is that? And most of the time they are missing from the legends. So don't make that mistake. This is critically important. Use the color only when it's necessary, not necessary that you can use always the color. Okay, so if the different lines are when you required to go for that, then only, otherwise no need. Colors need to be visible and distinguishable. If you're using the color, it should be clear and it should distinguish from what data difference you are looking for. Do not selectively adjust an image to enhance the visualization of results. Go as it is. Go with honesty. Okay, and don't try to add a lot of the tables to make your paper boring or like this, like this, like this, like this. Most of the people they do, they're only the result section goes very high. That's not a strength of your paper, but that is actually a weakness of your paper. That will actually means again resulting the rejection of your paper. So we need to be very careful about that. Now, while we reach the discussion part, it is very critical. Again, very important. Each section is critical, as we discussed at this time. So what the results means, it is the most important section of it. Here you get a chance to sell your data. Discussion. It is now what you have done. So this is your chance, like an abstract, that is a chance to present your work. Now here is a chance to sell your data. Many manuscripts are rejected because the discussion is weak. Artists, they think, okay, we already provided in the results, we already done, it's good in abstract introduction, and everything is clear. Okay, just for the sake of discussion sections, we just no. Most of the time, with reviewers, they don't go through the results. Maybe they go with the discussion. If they like it, then they can go back to the results. It's very important. You need to be very clear on that. Make discussion corresponding to the results, and don't means have any sentences which are only hanging statements, but they should be reflecting to your results section. Okay, so but not to reiterate your results. So in discussion, no need to means repeat your results. That means now your product is ready. You are just there to sell it up. So just try to link up with that and see how you can nicely present it. You need to compare the published results with your own benchmark in the discussion. Okay? That is your selling point. You're saying that you have done a better job compared to the existing available. That will help you. Okay. Now, scientific language, it's a critically important. That is the reason you see there are so many companies, they are looking for the proofreading services. What do you mean? As a researcher, and you are doing PhD as a PhD scholar, or if you are done with the PhD, does it mean that you are not able to write the paper? No, it's not a point. The lacking is from a scientific writing. If you learn that, you will not require to go for whatever the writer. It doesn't require that always you are supposed to go there. For example, if you are presenting some work in the present tense for the known facts, okay, and hypothesis, what you are supposed to do, you do the average life of a honeybee is. So you need to go in this one, 6 weeks. Because why? This is the present tense. And that is a known fact and known hypothesis. So average life of honeybee is 6. We cannot use means any other. But if suppose you are going for the past tense of experiment, so you need to write all the honeybees were maintained. So you see here we are this is the structure of the scientific writing. Okay, and if you are using the past tense when you describe the results of your experiment, when you are referring to your experiment, always you need to write with the past tense the average lifespan of the bees in our content environment or the experiment or whatever it was 8. So these are very simple, the basic rules. If you understand that, then slowly you will not require the English editing services from the people. So these are the scientific principles of writings. You can find out, you can Google it up and you can find out even more. This is only the one of the example we discuss here. We need to know how to represent the known facts, how to represent to the benchmarking, how to represent our work, how to represent our claims, how to represent our results, how to discuss our discussion. So these are the important. And these points are means not no it does not require to be means practicing or remembering again and again. If you do that 1 or 2 times or 3 times, that will become your common practice. Then that will be your means you will be habitual for that. So this will be very easy to work on these gaps. Now, reaching to the conclusion, again, it's highly important. Then how work advances the field. Advanced field means how you are contributing to the literature. Without the clear conclusion, reviewers and readers will not they will find it difficult to judge the work. Okay, whether does it has the merits of publication or does not have the merits of the publication. But it's very important. Conclusion is closing of it. Okay, so you need to close it in a very appropriate way. Do not repeat the abstracts or just list experimental results. Don't do that. So you need to be very careful to avoid these things. Provide a very clear scientific justifications for your work, because this is your conclusion, and indicate the possible applications and extension of your work. Sometimes some journals they suggest that you can add the future work as a separate section, but mostly we do that in a conclusion. What are the scientific implications? How the people can extend? What you contributed? What problem you solve? These are the points with a clear directions. That is the conclusion. And again, the conclusion should be also within the limits. What the authors they make a mistake is sometimes they write conclusion for 1 page. Sometimes they are putting 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraphs. It's not right. Okay? Try to come up with 1 paragraph same like what you're doing with the abstract, and put the length almost equal to the abstract. Maybe a little bit you can, but keep in mind again that this is what we are discussing about the conclusion for journal papers. That will be different for thesis or for other part. Okay, because the focus target is about the journal papers today. Now, when we are going for acknowledgement, that's very important. You need to recognize means who helped for this research, who have done, not only for the benchmarking people. Include individuals to whom you know. Don't miss. Give the credit, okay, to everyone. You notice that for each and every slide, the courtesy and thanks to the elsewhere. Okay, so you need to acknowledge correctly. Okay, include individuals, include advisors, your supervisors. Okay, who is financially supporting you? Include their acknowledgements. Even if you are going through with the proofreader your paper, acknowledge them. Even you use the typesets, acknowledge them. Even you acknowledge to your anonymous reviewers as well. So you need to acknowledge that. That's very important and very critical. Now, going for the references, that is a highly important part. That is the base of your paper. Keep in your mind that when you are doing with the references, always try not to use the old references. But it doesn't mean like what we discussed for the Leach because in 2000, almost 22 years before, but people are still citing that. The reason is what? That is a classic work. We cannot avoid that. We have a ratio. We need to go through with the latest references. If we define it in percentage, okay, so our latest references should be more than 75%. In good cases, more than 80%. 20% we can keep only for the classic references if required, depending on the work. If it's not like that, then it's good that we can go maximum for the latest references. Another is key. While we're writing our references, we make sure that some information is not missing. We can use the different tools like Refer, Medley, EndNote, Word, whatever we are using. We need to be careful that we are not missing anything, because that is actually we are acknowledging to those people. If we will not writing, again, this is not good for us, for journal, and that will become the rejection reason as well. Another rule for that, while we are getting for the references, maybe we can have a separate presentation of the references and how we cite, and it's very critical and very important. The other thumb rule is, if you go in a percentage wise, so make sure that you are minimum at least 60%. This scale is from 60 to 70%. In some cases, for the good high impact journals, up to 75%. That you are citing the references from the journal articles. You're not citing the work from, from proceedings. And you're not citing the maximum part from the review papers. You're citing from the good level. The rest of the 25%, you can cite the papers from proceedings, you can cite the books, you can cite from the thesis, you can cite from the monograph, you can cite from, from the letters, you can cite from the patents, you can cite from any other source. 75% part should be strong. That belong of that 100% work that what we discussed. That's very critical. What do you mean by the recent references? Recent references, again, we divide it into two grades, into two groups, A and B. So the A is last 3 years of references, and B is last 5 years of references. So when we cite, the group A must have a ratio up to 75% of your references. It means your 75% references should be not older than the last 3 years. And now what it means by the last 3 years? The last 3 years is always counted from the day to backward. We are in July 2022, so the 1 year will be counted July 2021, not the in a state year 21, 22, 23 like that. So 75% should belongs to the group A, and 25% may belongs to group B, which will be is the 5 years old. Don't go this beyond that. You already have some, the leverage that is for 20% that you can go in case of classical references, and in case suppose they are really required. This depends again on your practical. That's very critical. Okay? For you, for authors, for audience, for the reviewers, for the journal, for everyone. So you need to be very careful. Now, cover letter. This is another important aspect. If you really want to get the good support to clear the EIC test, you need to make a very comprehensive, clear, and concise cover letter to the journal editor. Why submitting your work? That what you are doing, what you have achieved, why you're submitting to this journal, how and how many authors are, from where they belongs. Okay? So from where they belong, it's a very important point. We again discuss part B. So you need to show the strength of your work, strength of your team, strength of your authors, importance of your results. So that will have a high chance. If a good cover letter, the EIC will not go through with your paper, but it will go through first with your cover letter. If you will be happy, then he will go, please take it serious and go through with your paper and can please help you to clear that phase. If your cover letter is not clear, you are just writing for the sake of the cover letter, then again you will be in heavy position. So that's very critical as well. Now, while you're suggesting the potential reviewers, I believe that point we already discussed, that you need to be very careful. So you need to suggest the reviews that really will be helpful for the, for the editors, that they can be used, then it will be a strength of the paper they can consider. Now, it's an important point here. Maybe you will be start thinking, if suppose we suggest a reviewer and they are nice and fulfilling all the areas and fields, so it means they will assign to those reviewers. Maybe they are our friends. No, not like that. What the journalists they do when you're suggesting that become a part of the database. So if I'm suggesting a good reviewers, you are suggesting a good reviewers, and we both qualify, our both papers goes to the next phase. So what you do probably, my reviewers will assign what I suggested to your paper, provided that we are in the same domain. And your reviewers, what you recommend, they will be assigned to my paper. So this is how they will be doing the things accordingly, right? Now, see this picture, as we discussed that the pictures, they can talk very clearly. So see, this is the paper. So see now how many people are in beginning. That's the target for the accepted paper. So this is the editorial. The editorial, the people who are means technical and non-technical people as well. Non-technical people, they will check about formalities, formatting, and so many things. So this is a hard journey. So sometimes the first who is the EIC who has the sword in his hand, we cannot pass him. So if we pass him, then we need to pass to the other, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth. So if we are following all the points that what we discussed, then we can go through. Otherwise, you can understand this is the clear picture what can give you the right understanding. Now, you need to make a checklist. Okay, then what are the early reasons for the early rejection? We already discussed a lot of them. So you can make these points, they can help you. Okay. Now, I want to see about the contents, aim and scope is that they are online. Okay. And paper is limited interest are covered the local issues. You remember we said that if it is only covering to the Selangor and Malaysia, geographical locations are very specific. It is not good. It will not go through. Paper is a routine application. No, it cannot go. Okay. The paper presents the incremental advancement. Only already the work is done and we are just increasing a little bit. No need to go for that because it will not go specifically while we are targeting to the good level channels. Okay, so these are the So the novelty and significance, they are means not there are very less, that will be immediately. What should you check? Is your work is interest of international audience or not? The audience are very important. Authors are very important. Does the work add significant value to the existing methods or not? If it is like this, no, it should be like this. Okay. So is the perspective consistent of the journal? Yes. Are the right conclusion drawn, everything? So see if you are means having a weakness like this, don't go for that. If you have answered yes, yes, yes for this part, it's good. This should be your checklist before you're going to submit your paper. Further, about your preparation, failure to meet the submission requirement in terms of formatting, in terms of so many other things. Incomplete coverage of your literature. Maybe you are missing the latest references. You're claiming something and you are missing. So the editor will think, author will think, sorry, the reviewer will think, or maybe this is means not recent work. Maybe what you are claiming already it has been done. So they will not look for us, but they will say no, no latest work. So just go and reject that one. Unacceptable, poor English. So you already know that what it is. Okay. So you need to check that. If you have the answer yes, then you can go for that particular part. Right. Now, going for sorry, the time is only 34 minutes. Maybe we will a little bit speed up. So now we go for the reviewing process. Okay, if your paper got acceptance from the EIC, it doesn't mean that your paper go through and you will get the acceptance. There is no guarantee for that. No one can give even a guarantee that even you're receiving a minor revision and your paper will be accepted. Okay, so take it very seriously and respond accordingly. Okay, revise your means manuscript completely and put highlight it and add that responses into your response document. Make it clear that what you have done. Even a point, even a comma, if you are putting, you need to highlight it, means bring it into the knowledge of the reviewer. That's important. Okay, so you need to be very careful for that. So revision after submission, that is a common thing. If you've done good, and you reach that level, okay, and if you're missing that level, again, you will be in trouble. So you need to be very careful and study the comments, means 5 to 10 times, because sometimes the authors, they don't understand exactly what the reviewer is asking in the comment. They respond, they put a lot of effort, but then paper is going to reject it. Okay? So you need to understand what is actually the comments, detailed comments. If you still have a doubt, so while you're responding, the response document, preparing a response document, you mentioned that. Then from this point, I do understand in this perspective. So that's why this is there. In case if suppose something else is requested by the reviewer, so please make it clear. I can redo that in the next revision. So keep a clear, be honest, means you know response to the reviewer. Then you will have a chance to go through that one. Second round is common. Sometimes we see 5 rounds. 7 rounds I have experience in my life. Okay, the maximum rounds of the reviews what I have received. So you need to be careful. Don't you worry, and don't you think if suppose you're going through with the second round or third round, so it means there is a surety that your paper is going to be accepted. No, not at all. You need to be serious and make very clear rebuttal for all of the phases. Take all of the rounds as important as what you have taken to the first round. Okay, see for the problems, and even for each round, this means that you already get one other chance to improve your work. So you can go through with the whole paper again, see if something is missing or something is weak or something is still there is a room previously you was missed by you, so you can be able to make that done as well. Do not resubmit your work elsewhere. Okay, so without the revisions, do not miss even a single point from the revision. Sometimes as a editor, we know that what the authors they do, if one reviewer is putting 10, 20 comments, so they address the 18 comments, the 2 comments, they are hard, they don't want to address. So when they prepare the response document, they just try to erase that. Okay, they try to give a message that the comments were only 18, but no, it is being checked not only by the editors, but by the journal staff members. They verified completely that you respond for everything. Only after that it resent to the editors. So don't play the tricks. Be honest with yourself and respond accordingly. Okay, so you need to important points to remember that you are selecting the right journal based on the scope. Okay, and you are submitting only in one journal. Your English is appropriate. Your structure is appropriate and nice one. Your presentation and your general requirements you are fulfilling. The last and conclusive point for this one, for this section, is that you need to be very honest. Don't hide anything. Okay, you cannot hide. If you will try to hide, that will go against you. Okay, so you need to be very careful, and don't do the data fabrication. Okay, if you have some results, you are just trying to fabricate it and generating the results from the results. Trust me, that is not wise at all. If you're doing that, first of all, you will not get the chance to be published your work. And even if it is published, your paper will be retracted after 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 7 years. Because the journals, they have a lot of the teams, they are keep doing auditing on the accepted and published papers to maintain and manage the quality. If that is missed at that time, probably you will be able to see the retraction of your papers later. So always be honest and go accordingly. The most importantly, the plagiarism. Don't play any trick for that. Okay? Always don't use any shortcut. That is, you will have the consequences. Your paper gone through, it's accepted, it's online, but later it will be tracked out. So be careful. Okay, this is a very serious offense. Don't use anything. That will be, you are providing a grounds to the research community and the journals to put you under the blacklist, others. And that will ruin your career. So be careful for that. Okay, so this may also result in academic charges as well. and sometime maybe you will be able to lose your jobs. This is very, very critical. So you need to be very careful about that. Okay, don't use this. And even if suppose you are using any of the means equations or figures or something, you need to cite them properly. Most of the journals are very critical. Even if you are citing the pictures, again, they are asking for the copyright permissions. Okay, so if they are asking for the copyright permissions, go for copyright permissions. Author will give you. No author will means stop you. But then you have to manage and maintain what you're using, the pictures or tables or whatever it is. Put the references proper, and also you just drop one email and get their confirmations. Okay, sometimes if the paper or the classic paper, there maybe the authors are not alive, then you can write their journals. And if you're not receiving response, at least you need to means do your part. Okay, and if you're not receiving any response from journal from others, then it's better that you can remove those data what you are using from the others. Okay, so multiple submissions are not encouraged at any cost. That will be also the another source to means flagging. Now, this is a term, maybe most of you don't know about that. Flag, that term is maybe those people who are editor or associate editors. Okay, so the system automatically flag to the others. Okay, in two types of the others. Those people who are submitting their paper to the multiple, the places. And those reviewers who are reviewing their papers, and then they are putting their own citations. Okay, even if it's related or not. So automatically they are flagged in the system. So when they are flagged in the system the editors or the associate editor, they will not send you for the reviewers. And up to some certain level, if you are flagged with different systems, you will be automatically blocked to submit the papers. So if you are submitting in the multiple journals, and if you are flagged, then you will not be notified. But whenever you submit your paper, you will be receiving the AIC desk automatically. Your paper will not go through. Okay, so these are very critical points you need to understand. Most of the authors, they don't know. Most of the reviewers, they don't know about that, but they are doing mistakes. So they are happy because they are getting a lot, but after some time they got stuck, and then they start thinking what happened. Means now our paper is not it's going through. So these means for any dishonesty you will pay the cost. So you need to be very careful about that. Okay, so now we are reaching to the part B, which is the most important part. Even though we have a less time, and this part is not too much, but it's a very important information. That is actually what is important for the journals. Now, this part is why we are discussing it separately, because we already done with part A. We talk about quality, we talk about the scope, we talk about presentation, we talk about novelty, we talk about contribution, we talk about everything. Okay, now our piece of paper, master piece of paper is ready. Now we are going to target to the journal. Again, what we have done with the part A, that is only from 50 to 60%. There's no guarantee that your paper will go through. Now we need to see what is the requirement of the journal. Other than that, this is the most important part. So now see, journals are always very much concerned to their indexing. So in the indexing, the top indexing is the Scopus and Web of Science. So you all are aware while you're writing the papers in your appraisals, your universities are saying if it's indexed in Scopus, if it's indexed in Web of Science, and if it is SCIE journal, then it will be accepted. Otherwise, your work will not accept. You will not get any point. Right? That is a benchmark. That's a quality matrix. Okay, and that quality matrix actually give the value to the journals. And if the journals have a good quality matrix, then they will have a high impact in research community. And then they will be having a good amount earning, because at the end it is business as well. They will have a chances to earn a lot from their open access mode. So then if they are good with impact factor, if they are means tier 3, they will be charging. If you just got the survey, you will find out if the tier 3 channel, they will be having the charges means in our domain, not aware about other domains, 500 USD, 700 USD, 1000 USD. If they are jumping to the tier 2, they will be charging 1500 USD, 1700 USD, and 2000 USD like that. If they are jumping to the tier 3, tier 1, top tier, then they will be charging a lot, 3,000, and even you will be it's trying to know that in some journals they are charging more than 3,000 and 3,500 and 4,000 as well. Very few, but they are. So if suppose they don't have a good indexing, they cannot charge you even a single dollar. The people will not ready to even submit their work even free. Even they do English for you, even they do editing for you, everything, but the artists, they will not be ready to submit. So that is their lifeline. That is the editors, EICs, and the associate editors, what they are looking for. They are trying to manage that part. How they will be improving the quality of their channel. How they will be in top tier channel ranking. So they will be getting a lot of the the revenue. For example, for one of the channel, IEEE Access, okay, if you just go through, maybe later I will just show you. If we just go through with that particular channel, you will see that how many thousands of the publication they are receiving, and how many thousands of the publications they received, they accepted, they put them online. For example, I checked the couple of months before for the while I was checking for the JCR. What is the JCR we will discuss right now? So for the last JCR, the IEEE journal, they published 45,000 publications, and their citations, they were almost 190,000 for that particular period. So their impact factor is 3 point something. So we will let you know that how impact factor is counted as well. So you can imagine they are charging now $1,800 US. Previously, they were charging $1,750 US. So you can simply put and multiply by the 45,000. You will know that how much amount. Sometimes the some of the journals, they have even the more budget, the more earning, the more amount, then so many small countries complete GDP and revenue. So it's a huge part to understand. It's a very important part to understand as well. So if their tier are going to be down, lower, they cannot charge that much. How much their cost is? Maybe not more than 2%. Because most of the journals, they are online, they're not printing them. So that is their job. So you remember, I was saying again and again that you will learn in section B that why means you will be get rejected, even though you are done with this, with this, with this, with this, with this. So after doing that all, these EIC editors, they see even it's subscription journal or the non-subscription journal, open access journal. For all of them, this is because the quality, that is their lifeline. They need to survive. We have millions of journals, but all of the journals, they are not indexed and they are not in top tier. So they survive. So for that, they have some parameters. So we need to see that those parameters we are fulfilling or not. If we are fulfilling, then even our paper is good quality, whatever we done with the part A, that can go through. And if we are lacking from this part or the part C, then again, we will not have a chance to go through with the paper from the high tier journals. Okay. So for that, first of all, we need to understand what is the DSCR, CITES score, a lot of the different indexing, but we just put the two just to give you an idea to understand. Then you will understand why, because we will be discussing about that particular part, then you will be able to understand it, what it is. So now JCR is what? JCR is actually stand for Journal Citation Report. It is from the Web of Science, and it is every year. Normally it appears in June or maximum in July. This identify how much impact factor of the journals. Based on that, journals tiers will be decided that this journal goes to Q1, Q2, and Q3. And based on that, the whole business and whole story, what we discuss about the journals, they continue. And that is the best part, what is being handled by the EIC and associate editors. That is the reason that EIC is always having the sword in his hand, and he's rejecting direct a lot of the papers. So now see from here, this is the JCR. This is the all citation, what we are doing. That is the journal citations items, how they are going to be published. So see for this journal, these all citations to the journal to items published in the previous 2 years. Our focus here is for 2 years. Previous 2 years divided by the total number of scholarly items published in the journal in the previous 2 years. Okay, For example, if an impact factor of 1, it means that on average, if the journal has 200 publications in the last 2 years, so it means that at least the journal has 200 citations for last years as well, last 2 years as well. Then it will be known as 1 impact factor. To be clear, more clear, understand from this, okay? See, here we are considering the year, which is year 2018 and year 2019, because we are going to calculate the impact factor for year 2020. So right now we have impact factor list for 2022. So it means we consider the system consider 2021 and 2020 year. So this is how it works. So now see, we have 500 total citations. This is your 500 total citations. And how many papers you have, which means online, which are accepted and online, not only accepted, but online. So 25 papers in 2018 and 20 papers journal published in 2019. So we will add up those both papers. This will be 45. So total number of the citations and divided by total number of papers. What will be the answer? That is actually the impact factor of the journal. So you now understand what we mean. So EIC will not allow your paper if it's not from the hot area. Paper is good, but if suppose he allow, he know that the paper will not receive the citations. If no citations, now see from here, if this number rather than the 500, if it is 1, then how much it will impact to the impact factor? That will be only 2 point something. And journal rank will be very low in tier 3 maybe. So they make sure that what you are publishing your work, the idea, the first and the most important part is the idea is good or not. Good in a sense that the people are working in that particular domain or not. If people are working, then there are chances that people will be citing your work. And that citation is good for you for getting I-10 index and H-10 index, but that is more good for the journal because to maintain and manage their grade, maintain and manage their, the ranking. So if it is not good, they will straight away, they will say this paper means sorry. That's why you remember at the start we discussed the paper is good, but it's not in our scope or blah, blah, blah. It's only a typeset email routine database. They will just press one button and EIC will reject it. So if you receive EIC rejection, so no need to be worried. Okay, that's a part of the game. So you need to see that where you're lacking. So you need to improve that. Right now, if we just go for this one to see that this journal has impact factor 2.77. So this means that how many citations he has for this particular year, for year 2018 and 19. Total citations he only able to get, which is the 721. So automatically it is impact factor become 2.77. So automatically its rank will go down. It will not. So what we learn from here, those journals who are the top tier journals, which means the most of the people, they read their work and they read their work and go through and cite their work and make benchmarking of their work. So they are in top training. They are at their citations are high. Citations matters. If you have means 1,000 publications, but if your citations are only 100, that is completely, it's a proof that you are useless researcher. Okay, then none of the university will respect you. None of the researcher will respect you. So citation is the actual game. How much citations you have. Citation can only come when your work is current, when your work is from the domain, when you have significant contribution, and when you have good team, good authors, and when you have distributed team. That's very important that we will be covering in section C. So now see, this is how we consider that how impact factor we are considering. Now this system for calculating the impact factor, they consider the journals, they are receiving the articles, the reviews, the letters, the editorials, the meetings, the abstract, and so on. You remember at the start we discussed that when we will go, journal don't like much to the letters and editorials and other things. You know why? The reason is one, that when they are calculating the impact factor, they only count the citations from articles, from reviews, and from proceedings. If journal is publishing letters, if journal is having editorials, if journal is publishing anything else, and even people are citing that citation will not counted here in this scale. So if it is not counted, their impact factor is going down. So that's why they are not interested much enough. They only invite letters from a very senior level of people just to respect them and to get the marketing for their journal, that this much level of the person, they have the research papers with our journal. So the people can apply. Otherwise, their main focus on scientific articles, on the reviews, and only the conferences, index proceedings. If you are citing the work which is not indexed, then it will be not counted. Okay, if we have a conference, it is not indexed in this corpus or in Web of Science, and I'm citing the journal, suppose IEEE access, that citation will not count for that. So this is how, this is very important to understand. So the journals, they are very critical for that part. If suppose they see that your paper does not have a potential to be having higher citation, they will not count it. So they count the citations index from different sources. Okay, they count from emerging source citation index. They count from the book paper chapters. Book chapters are is very important for them. They count from the proceedings from the conferences, proceeding citations. Okay, from there. So this is how the whole means part work. That is what journals are looking from our paper that we have used in. Now you can see that what are the different indexing for the journals from the Web of Science. Okay, SCIE, which is actually means, you know, for science citation index expanded. This is for which domain? For science domain, for clinical domain, for natural, and for applied domain. For computer science, we also use mostly this data. If we are the people from the social science, they use the SSCI, which is for the social science citation index. Okay, they have the different indexing for the different domains. So if it's suppose someone something from the arts and humanities citation, so that's known AHCI. And if it is, this is general for all of the domains, which is the ESCI. ESCI, it means that journal now indexed with the Web of Science, but it does not have impact factor. It's not part of the JCR report, journal citation report. So we need to understand. And you remember, if suppose the author who belongs to this domain and the author is now submitting the paper this domain, so that paper will not get the citation because the actual audience for these authors are only with this group. So his audience will not come and search to this paper. So how paper will get the citations? So journal will not accept that paper. Yes, rejection will be there. So by choosing papers, we need to be very careful. Yeah, we can take means from arts and humanity in case suppose we are doing multidisciplinary and the paper contained the work, then it is even more good. So how that will be more good, we will be discussing in the next part as well. Okay, the 10 minutes left. So these are the 5 points we need to understand about. Okay, there are a lot of journals they don't have impact factor, but they have ESCI. Means they are indexed with the Web of Science, but they don't have impact factor. And a lot of journals don't have impact factor. They are not indexed in Web of Science, but they are indexed in this corpus. They are indexed in so many other databases. Okay, so we need to understand the ABC. If we discuss about that, then maybe it's a completely different lecture. You know how these are, how they are different from each other. Which domain have more respect for which? So that would be a different story. We are out of time, so we maybe cover the important point right now. So these are the points. A journal has only the impact factor, but it may list it in more than one category as well. So one journal may be listed in so many categories. A journal having impact factor should not be looked at it in isolation. Okay, because if it is in one impact factor and you feel it's good, but in case you suppose this journal belongs to the medical domain, then in medical having impact factor 1 is not a big deal. Okay, they have the impact factor more than 100, 200, 300, 400 like that. There's a common journal. So don't expect, but if it belongs to the computer science domain, then it's very respectable. So impact factors means varies across the discipline. That's the same point what we discussed. So you need to be very careful about that. Now, another thing about site scope, that is actually means started by this corpus. So the JCR is started by the Web of Science. So you remember the site score is always, you can see, means indexing at the journal's website. Site score, what Scopus is doing, they are taking a window of 3 years. You remember Web of Science, it was taking a window of 2 years only. Okay, if we need to calculate the JCR, then we are calculating for this year, then we only count 13 and 14. But if we are going for the site score, then we are counting this and this, the 3 years. And then the rest of the principle is the same like the JCR. So we can do that and we can find out that for this particular period, this much is actually the citation score. Citation score is very important as well. It's important and it's freely available at the journals. So they are actually indexing parameters. They are actually giving us the right understanding that what is the means the value of the journal. So when we are saying, oh, my paper is published in Q1, so tier 1, so it means that automatically it has citation score good, impact very good, and so many other things as well. Okay. Your paper is worthless. That's what we discussed earlier. If no one reads, users are, means no one is citing it, then it is completely useless and it is meaningless for whom? For the researchers, for the journals. So it is clearly described that someone else can use it. Okay. So in that case, your paper will be a burden of the journal. So that means if suppose some of the journal has a lot of papers and no citation, that means the EIC is not good. And the journal management will change the EIC that you are not doing a good job because they need the citations, right? So you can see from this is the clear message. The journal published editors wants to bring down means those journals and editors which are uncited articles. Okay, so editors now regularly analyze the citations per article. So they are analyzing the citation per article, analyzing the authors. When you are submitting your paper, they analyze about authors, who authors are, from where geographical locations are, what are their citations, what are the trends of their citations. If the authors are good, people are citing him well, then you are qualifying, your paper will qualify. If you are submitting 5 authors and all of you, they don't have citations, window is less than 100, then they will say no, they will not accept. Just see how these parameters work, where we are making mistake, where we are lacking, so we need to cover. So in some cases, most of the cases, if suppose the authors are new, so how it will work will be going to be done. But sure cannot because he does not have the citation. So in the good journals, so then that's the reason you can collaborate with the the people who are good in their domain. Okay, and that is the reason why the postgraduate scholars they are coming. So they are always going working with their supervisors. Okay, so they are just building their profile so they can be able to reach to that particular level. So the stat it suggested 27% of the papers were not cited in 5 years. Okay, was actually disconcerting. So it certainly indicates that it is important to maintain the high standards accepting paper. This is the editor what is saying, and this is the data what I presented to you, not from my side. This all data is presented by the elsewhere, and this is all by all of the publishers as well. So citation is critical. So we need to see how we can get the citation. Why? That's the why. Okay, that we need to make sure that what the editors and EIC and the associate editor are looking for, we need to give them answer, right answer. My work is this, my authors are like this, my authors are globally, and that's why they will have a chances. Why the globally? Because if suppose you are writing a paper, okay, and if it is from different universities, from different geographical locations, so automatically that paper will be cited from different locations. So it will multiply your citations. That's the strength of your paper. So now we are going to the part C. So I hope we are almost done. 4 minutes, maybe a few minutes we can take a more. So these are the tips why journal publisher. Almost most of the things we already discussed about. So we need to work, number one, quality. This is a primary thing. If we don't have, even we cannot qualify to the next level. Excellent presentation, as what we discussed in the first part. Better English language writer, better and proper structure of paper, clear and concise writer, and we need a proper link up of sections and flow with each other. These are the tips to make our paper please go through, but not these things only, but the most important points are you need to see about the research collaboration. Go with the approach of multi-level, multidisciplinary research. Try to collaborate as many as it is possible. You need to be very careful when you are selecting your authors. Your authors must have means work done, or they must belong to that specific domain or area. You're working in medical and if your author is from arts and humanity, don't go even if because of your one author, your paper will be rejected. You need to make sure that right authors are there. Okay, collaboration is there. A good name, a well-known names are there. From different geographical location, peoples are there. Okay, that these are the tips that can go through to your work. Okay, so you need that stairs to reach to that particular level. When once you have built your own profile, once you are at the top, then a lot of things maybe you don't require. Okay, now means you yourself is that stage. Now maybe other people will require you, okay, your assistance to get through their work. So once they will be reaching to that level, then again they will don't require. So this is a chain. So this is a continuous chain. Will continue. Now see, you need to have an appropriate journal selection. Every journal, every publisher, they provide the tools. We are running out of time, otherwise I can show you the tools as well. So they can provide the tools. You can go through, you can find out, you can just provide your abstract and you can provide your title and they can suggest you the best matching journals. And again, that is based on the different algorithms they are working at the back end. So you need to be very careful, okay, that while you are doing that, again, after that, you need your own thorough analysis as well, okay, from the list as well. It doesn't mean even sometimes you see that this is the most matching journal and you submit and the EIC will reject is not in the scope. So you need your own, analysis, and that will be on experience by the experienced person only. Sorry. And then the journal scope and its domain. This is most important. Journal belongs to one. If journal is purely medical journal, and if you get the one of the paper you cited, that is also from that journal, maybe that is from the one of the special issue that is related to ID. But the journal not belongs to the computer science, don't go there. AIC will not allow you, and your paper will be rejected. And even if suppose they are reviewers from the database, they will be belongs to the medical, so they will don't understand your work, and you will be wasting your time. So be very careful about that. Now, papers having these are the core tips. Papers having the authors from the different schools within the same university is encouraged. That's a good thing. Okay, and papers having the authors from the different universities is even better. So now see, you are extending your scope. The same way, like what you're writing, you're targeting and focusing, that also you are extending your scope for your work as well as your team, your research team. And papers having authors from the different countries globally from the different location is much better. So we are going with the high importance from top to bottom. And papers having authors with the prominent profiles will more than better from their specific research domain. Now, I don't want to name for any journal because I'm associate editor for multiple journals. Okay. So I just let you know that one time the paper was assigned to me for the review, and that paper was actually the author among them that belongs to one of the very prominent journal with a Q1 journal with a very high impact factor. So I received a separate message. Please take care carefully. If you are rejecting, then you need to be careful and with very strong comments. Why? When I noticed this is the only message I received for this paper, and that journal also itself was Q1 for the journal and the associate. When I noticed, then I saw the author is the EIC editor-in-chief for journal XYZ. So this is how the prominent profiles can help you. So multidisciplinary research approach is highly appreciated. Why highly appreciated? If you're doing a multidisciplinary approach, then you will be having a lot of chances to get the citations from the different disciplines at the same time. And these all things your EIC will be noticing. Okay, these are the points. It means journal will get higher citation, our impact factor will be increasing, and we will be in good business. A very straightforward principle or rule. So you need to expand your research collaboration as much as possible. Okay? Try to find out the good people, to collaborate with them, and expand your research as much as possible. Why universities have the research excellence centers? They have research excellence centers because they are looking for collaborations with the different, industries and universities. Why they are looking for the collaborations with them? They already have their staff. They can do their research inside, in home, and in-house, and they can do that. They cannot be. They can only be prominent while they are collaborating with the different levels. Now, say for example, if you are collaborating, for example, as a center, we are collaborating with the 40 different industries and international industries. So those publications, papers, projects, patents, they are getting citations from the 40 different places. Automatically, it will help to increase your profile. And if you are increasing your profile, so you will be in the good eyes of the EIS. As I mentioned, if you have the your H index is higher than 15, then you will be noticeable. If you're reaching more than 25, you will be highly noticeable. If you are crossing the 30, then you will be excellent, means your profile is considered as an excellent. And most of the universities and the bodies, they offer you the grants when you means they have even the primary requirements that one of the team members should be having, the H index more than 30. And while you're reaching to the 35 and above, then there is a separate database worldwide which is putting the top researchers means from that particular country. So you will become a member. That's the basic criteria for that. So that is how these things are very important. You need to understand you can achieve that by increasing the quality of your work, by understanding these gaps, and by enhancing and increasing the research collaborations. Okay, so for this question, why, we already answered for that. And thank you very much. We just took the 4 minutes more. So that's the all conclusion. I hope this will be helpful for you. And if any question, feel free to ask at any time. Thank you very much for your patience, for your time, for more than 2.5 hours. Thank you once again. So if you have, these are the references, what we used, and we place the references as well at the bottom of the slide. So in case if suppose you have any question, you can ask right now, or you can find out center's details or my details from here, and you can ask anytime. Most welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you very much to our guest speaker today, Dr. Noor Zaman Jhanji, for the very informative talk. So now it's time for the Q&A session. Okay, so dear participants, you may also post your questions in our chat room. Yeah. So any questions from members of the floor? Do we have questions?
Yeah, most welcome, please.
Okay, Dr. Zaman, I think we do have some questions being posted in our chat room. Can you view that, or you need me to read for you?
Please, if you can review for me, because I am not able to see.
Okay, all right, sure. So these are, we basically have 4 questions, okay, being posted. Salam, Dr. Zaman. Thank you so much for the informative presentation. Here are my questions. Okay, we go to the first questions. Does the list of reference affect the chances for getting accepted in a high impact journal? If we cite from conference proceedings or Q4 journals mostly, will it be a deterrent for the paper to be accepted?
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. Yes, it is very important, as what we discussed in our references. It doesn't refrain us to cite from the conferences or Q4 journals or Q3 journals. We can, but we have to maintain the ratio, what we discussed. So we try to maintain from the top tier journals, which is 75% ratio should be from there. For the rest of the 25%, we can be going from proceedings, from thesis, from books, or from any other. So we need to maintain the ratio. If our ratio is most citations only from the proceedings and from the low-level journals, then it will affect our process of publication.
I see. Okay, I think that answers question number 1, yeah? Okay, so question number 2. Structure of full article. I believe it's regarding the structure of full article. Okay, the question is, do we need to include literature review section, or is it part of the introduction?
Right. The literature review are related work and background we call with the different names. That is the backbone for any paper. In
Exactly.
introduction, if you remember during the presentation, we mentioned that we need to add the references a very few. We may not add our citations a lot in the introduction because otherwise it will be misleading. We just include that particular part which is related to our problem statement and also about our benchmarking. That is only allowed to put inside the introduction. The rest of our references, they require to be there in literature. That is the must part and always should be there. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the third question. Yeah, suggest potential reviewers is something about suggesting on the potential reviewers matters. Okay, the question is it advisable to suggest the journal editorials or the authors that we cite for our paper?
No, actually, what I understand from this question for the reviewers, like the reviewers, what we are suggesting, we need to suggest those people who work from that particular domain. We may not suggest any reviewer who does not belongs to that domain, and we are recommending, number one. Number two, that we can suggest probably if suppose it's more good if we are benchmarking to paper A and paper B, maybe it is better that we can suggest the as a reviewer to those authors. So they will be the right match. They can be able to see that what they have done and how we are improving their work. And the other points that while we are suggesting the reviewers, we need to be very careful that we may not be suggesting the multiple reviewers from the same institute or from the same school or even from the same country even. So we may suggest recommend from the different locations. That will help us.
Okay, that is useful, I believe. Yeah. Okay, and we have another two more questions. Okay, the fourth question. Okay, how do you delegate the work effectively among co-authors?
Yeah, that is a critical and most important part. So when we divide the co-authors, we need to see first of all about their specialties, that what they do have. Say some people who have, good in the conceptualization. So like say, for example, if we are working with the students are working with the supervisors, so concepts comes from the supervisor or from the senior persons. So the concept, that person need to elaborate to explain clearly that what is the concept, what they are looking for, what where they are going for, and how that concept will be achieved, what methods and how we will be able to go for that, and what should be the benchmarking for that. That is the part of that author that will be in a team as a supervisory team, and later he will be or she will be going through to review the paper. Now, for the other authors, we need to see that which one person will be dedicated for a particular section. We can assign the sections, and that one could be going for the introduction and literature review, other could be going for the experimental part, the rest can be going for the conclusion part, but we may not keep them completely blind and apart from each other. We always try to use the cloud services, whatever any author is doing, so every other author, they are examined the work that what has been done, and they can be tuned up according to that. Only that will be the way that we can be able to link up all the sections. Otherwise, the all authors, multiple co-authors, their work will be a different piece of work. Then this is the critical point. So if they are making a different piece of work, then there is no linkage among them. And that is the challenge what we discussed, that we will not be able to go through with the good tier channels. So whenever we work with the co-authors, we need to work on the same platform using the cloud services, and we are clear, and we must have multiple several time meetings to discuss what we are doing, why we are doing, how it is linked according to that. Very strong communication and collaboration is required.
I see. Okay. All right. Moving on to our final questions. Yeah. Uh, okay, Doctor, how to polish our skill in writing papers for publication?
Thank you very much. To polish our skills, they are from two ways. Number one is that we need to be aware about the points where we are lacking. That what the points we discussed, and we try to cover most of the points today. So most of the artists, they are actually not aware about these things. So that's why they're missing. Now, one and the most important part A that we need to aware about that, understand it, what are the requirements, number one. Number two, that is to bring the improvement in the write-up. When we know the requirement, then we can only bring the improvement, and improvement will come slowly. It cannot come, means at once. If we say that now we know the requirements, and if suppose someone who is the new researcher and he actually think that now we can go directly to the transactions level of the paper, that will be a challenging. So what we need to do, then we can start targeting from Q3 papers, Q4 journals, Q3 and Q2, and systematically we can go. So doing, means following that standards and keeping step by step, that will be actually our training, our learning, that make us means very quickly, very sooner to be reaching to the top level write-up for the journals. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So is there any more questions? I believe because the time is catching us up. Okay. Any more? One final question, perhaps. Yeah, no more. Okay, all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, Dr. Noor Zaman. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, to commemorate this officiating ceremony, I would like to invite everyone participating in this event via Microsoft Teams for a group photo. Kindly activate your camera for a photo opportunity with our guest of speaker today. Yes. Dr. Ira, I might need your help, your assistance. Yes, you're ready. Let's wait for some of the participants to turn on their camera.
Right. Nice to see you all, especially to Dr. Husna.
Hi, Dr. Zaman. Thank you
How are
very
you
much.
doing? Yeah, most
Good.
welcome.
It's very good. Your presentation was very helpful and very informative.
Thank you. Thank you, my player. My player.
Okay, is everyone ready? Wait. My teams. Okay, is everyone ready? Give a big smile. Okay, one more time. Wait, hold on.
We don't hear 1, 2, 3, Dr. Uza.
1,
2, 3,
3.
cheese. Sorry.
Yes. Okay, one more time, please. Okay, one more time. 1, 2, 3. Okay, wait. One more bit. Go to the together mode. Okay. Okay, one. Okay, everybody ready?